Hello, everybody. All right, let's get this show on the road. Alrighty, without further ado, we have Hazefest. We have Dstap. We have Karma. How is everyone doing this fine Sunday?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
Can't complain.
Oh, I was doing great until I woke up this morning and saw that Hibernia decided to steal all of our relics.
I'm doing great ever since then.
I bet you guys are. So, speaking of relics, how do you guys like being able to do relic raids without constant crashes?
I mean, I'm loving it.
I know. Go.
I think for Albion it was a little off today because it wasn't the relic keep itself that had issues. It was the fact that Hibernia was in the middle of a gala raid when it happened, but they had the outer door of Lamphoda down to 69% with absolutely no defenders yet, and the server went down and sent them all home in the process because Gala was on the last boss.
Ooh, that's rough. Because
Yeah,
I know a lot of the stability issues was mostly coming from pets with Animus pets and Thurgus pets, causing targeting issues and a lot of pathing desyncs. So I think that once all that got settled, I think we're doing pretty damn good with the everything.
Nice.
definitely some major stability handling that they've done so far.
Yeah, I can't be more proud with everything that we're Atlas, where it was and where it is now. 100 times better. 100 times better, hands down.
Yeah. Since we, upgraded the server, and we've gone from that hardware upgrade, and then all of the duplicate entries in the system, that was like 74 million duplicate entries from like one person. Once they cleared all that stuff out, it was smooth, and people are starting to see some crashes here and there, and I don't know if it's because the dev team is messing with the code or if it's new issues that we're coming across now. So it'll be interesting to see what the dev team says about that moving forward.
Yeah, I know lately the only issues that we've had isn't full server disconnects. It is like about half of the population will just get desynced, and once everything gets desynced, even the launcher starts to error and you can't get back in. And it looks like Jana is saying, how does one person get 74 million entries because of that whole database ordeal?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
They said that they fixed the problem that was causing it, so hopefully that shouldn't be an issue anymore.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that might have just been some sort of naming issue with a compliance in the way that the registry is built in the database. But I'm not a computer tech, so that's above my pay grade.
So the way it was explained when I asked a couple of questions, it seems as if something kept duplicating in a way, if that makes sense. And it just kept that line of code going over and over and over and over again. And when they finally solved the issue, they had to go in and remove that code and reverse all those changes that had happened. Now, it was quick thinking on them to go in and get it finished. I mean, it didn't take them too long, but you're right, 74 million different entries in a line of code for one account. I would just like to know what was going on when that happened.
Precisely. But before we start getting into the Atlas thing, so what have you guys been into? Hayes, I haven't seen since I've left Hibernia. What have you been up to?
Well, I spent a lot of time getting my Ranger up to 50, which took a while because no groups on a stealther. And when I finally hit 50, I got him semi-templated. I got him max stealth and max bow. Decided I'd go out there and snipe some people. First person I found happened to be a level 35 in a group. And it was the healer of the group. I target him. He's yellow. I'm like, realm points. So he sits down and I crit shot him as he's sitting. 90% of his life gone. I'm like, here comes the realm points. I can taste them. Second shot, he dies. I run away laughing. Ha 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 ha. I look at my log and it's like, you get no realm points. You're a filthy gray killer. You get 8 gold. And I'm like, he was yellow. And then I find out that 35 plus is yellow and 36 plus is realm points.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh,
So,
that feels so bad, but feels so good at the same time.
but now I know.
So Dstap, what have you been up to, sir?
A little bit of everything. After I deleted my minstrel, I wasn't paying attention. But after that, I just pretty much just leveling a bunch of different things, trying to find something I enjoy playing. And it's a little bit of everything right now, so
This guy's trolled.
I'll figure it out eventually, or I'll re-roll many. Not sure yet.
Nice. Now, Karma, what have you been up to? Good sir, Mr. one of the big BG leaders of Hibernia.
You know it, man. We went in, we took all 3 power relics. You saw that. One of the Conclave guild members, one of the higher, not really higher up officers, but one of the more renowned members of the guild, he led a very late night BG and ended up sniping the strength relics alongside Bahama and a couple of others from the other guilds. That kind of won Hibernia the day, or I guess the night in a way. And besides that, I got nothing. I've been playing my 50s. I've been helping people out, recruiting for the guild, running things around. Seriously has been running the BGs for EU, so that got taken off my hands, and I no longer have to deal with the EU side of it. So I run the NA side of everything now. BGs for RVR, keep defense, relic defense. I run it for all of the raids that happen. If it's a Gala raid and it's NA, it most likely will probably get ran by me. I mean, just a few minutes ago before the stream started, we had the server first Legion kill, and that was 100 and I'm going to go based off an average. I don't remember how many there were, but it was 145-ish, give or take a few. And we got the server first Legion kill.
Oh
So-
man, congratulations!
Congratulations.
And Legion killed, no crashes.
No crashes.
Yeah.
So-
So they fixed all the boss crashing.
Now, Hayes, you said you were leveling up your Ranger solo all the way. I mean, that's one of the things that
More or less, yeah.
I'd like to talk about is like the XP groups that we're seeing is everything is bomb, bomb, ba bomb, 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 ba bomb, bomb, bomb. Like if you're a different class, like that 12% XP bonus, no one's giving a damn about it.
Yeah. I didn't get in any groups really as a ranger, so I spent most of my time once I hit 20 just farming XP items. So I would just go from XP item to XP item to XP item, and I was leveling as fast as a decent group, like a non-bomb group, of course, but I was leveling as fast as a bad bomb group or at least an average melee group in terms of speed, because I could chain things one after another. I mean, from level 4 to 15, I was one-shotting yellows and almost one-shotting oranges. And then once I got to 20, everything was like 3 or 4 shots. And then eventually I got to 40, and then everything was like 6 to 7 shots, even if it was yellow. So I think the scaling of the mobs' HP pools probably needs to be looked at towards the later end, because everything is just so damn tanky. I mean, as a full sniper, I should be 3-shotting, 4-shotting yellows. Sometimes they would take 6 or 7 and they'd get to me, and then they'd kill me. I'd get the thing to like 20% life. I'm at 100%, and then it's dealing 10% of my life per hit. And as someone who doesn't have any spec in melee, you're pretty much either run or try your luck. So I died quite a bit, 40 plus soloing.
Yeah, I had that similar issue when I was leveling my Savage. Not being a shield tank, you're not getting bomb groups, so I was doing a lot of soloing. I would blues mow them down before anything would happen. Yellows, 2 or 3 before I sit. If I touched an orange, whether it was a low orange or a high orange, it was towards the end a roll of the dice if I was going to win or not. It was like if I evade and parry, we're good. Not evade, fucked. And then another issue that I'm seeing, especially on a Midgard front, is like RVR groups. It's everyone is playing Savage, everyone is playing Berserker, so that when you need a shaman or a healer, it's slim pickings. And our population has definitely fallen off by the wayside, so that's not helping us neither. Hey, Dstap, how's it looking over on the Albion front?
Oh, I'm actually I'm playing my hunter right now. I just got 30. But when I was on Elb, it's it's always the same on Elb. It doesn't matter if it's this server, another server. Either you're in the clique or you're soloing. Like that's pretty much all there is to it. You occasionally get to the hey, we're starting a group. You want to join? Um, but yeah, unless you are a paladin, a horseman, a minstrel, or ice wizards, you're pretty much soloing. Luckily, we have this really cool person that I think his name's Hazefest, who came up with this really cool map that lets you go around the world pretty fast with XP items. So that has been better than a group 90% of the time. um, but yeah, otherwise, I went played Elb this morning. I was on a Camelot. I was playing him a little bit, mostly on my hunter today. But I did a looking for group, and somebody said, "Can you roll a ice wizard?" I was like, "No, no,
Yeah,
thanks." But
I mean that's the meta, and that Hazefest guy, I think we all know that guy. Can we get a nice
yeah,
little applause for that man, for all the shit that he's done for this community with all the Hazefest and putting it all in one spot for everyone to use it. That's
yeah,
that's awesome.
That was the most important thing. I just got tired of looking around at outdated information, stuff that doesn't line up with the server that I was playing on. So I was just like, well, I could use these 20 different sites, or I could just do something with my Google Drive that is empty. So I decided I would just throw it all on my Google Drive. And if I'm going to use something like AutoHotkey, I'm going to take that knowledge and I'm going to give it to everybody else, because it's only fair that if I get to use it, so do you. So everything that I know, I'm giving to the community for free, because it's only fair.
And that AutoHotkey, that can start up so many different arguments, whether it's cheating or it's
I've heard it all.
you're taking quality of life of current games and putting it into an old game. And way back when, we had these lovely thing called Nostromos. It was basically a keyboard add-on that you would just bind key presses to each of the buttons. We had it back then. Now it's just software that does it for everyone else.
yeah. That's the biggest when I hear people complain about AutoHotkey or whatever, but they have no problems using their mouse that has 30 buttons that does exactly the same damn thing.
It's people hear AutoHotkey or they see AHK, they get scared. It's new, it's bad. We got to hit it with a rock. But yeah, some of the things that you can do with it, okay, maybe might be pushing the needle a little too much. But to allow a paladin to use all their chants, for a berserker or a savage to go, oh, I'm fighting a thrust. Let me hit my thrust macros. So instead of reaching and trying to find my thrust resist button, I can just push that button. It's doing everything else, but I'm not wasting the HP cost for crush and slash. It's, everyone is going to argue about it. Everyone's going to call it cheating. But in a way, you're still limited to a backup style and a primary style. everyone can do weapon swaps. You can key bind them to whatever hotkeys you want with your 37,000 button mice or whatnot. It's not doing anything that you can't do with your hand on a keyboard. You know, it's
Right.
not playing a game for you.
Right. You still got to position yourself and know when to hit it, at least for an opener. Like you can't. Well, now you can't. In beta, me and Hazefest used to go back and forth of who would PA the other person first because the way we could set it up.
You're right, Whiskey.
I would win 90, probably 50% of the time as long as he didn't have a staff in his hand, bastard. But I'm still trying to figure out because everyone says, "Oh, you have to play a minstrel and you have to use auto hotkey." I have yet to get auto hotkey down to do what I want it to do on a minstrel. It's not just put these keys in and hit the right button and you'll do fine. Like one mistake button on a minstrel can throw everything off. Whereas my Shadow Blade, I had everything I needed done. I maxed that one very hard. If anyone saw my auto hotkey for my Shadow Blade, they'd wonder how I even move with all the stuff I have going on in there. But yeah, that was pretty much a 3-button character, but for my Shadow Blade. But that was 2 years in practice and probably 30 hours of talking with Hazefest saying, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this?" I used to message him all the time on how to do certain things that I didn't know how to do. It's just taking the time. Once you learn it, people that complain about it just don't know how to use it, and they think it's just you put all your keys on one button and it works. It doesn't.
What about you, Karma? How you feel about auto hotkeys and the like?
I'd say on average, I don't really have a problem with AHK. I really don't even really have a problem with people automating the game. I mean, if you want to set up something that'll sit down and cast some shrooms for you and then sit back down and wait for mana and then stand back up and do it again. I mean, as long as you're not away from the keyboard, I don't personally see a problem with it because people already do it.
Now, if I have a wireless keyboard but carry it with me, am I still away from keyboard? Because I have the keyboard with me.
See, and then
There's
that's,
always that gray area.
that's the question of the generation. You know,
And-
if you take your wireless keyboard with you, is it still away from keyboard?
I mean, and that's society today. Everyone is going, no matter what rules people put in place, like the devs, people are going to find ways around it for their own benefit. And because if it doesn't hold up in court, then objection, hearsay, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I just figured, you know, I have a wireless keyboard. It's called a laptop, so I just carry it with me, and my Bone Dancer can auto farm, right?
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean, like, as far as it goes, you know, you see people in advice chat on Hibernia. I don't know about, you know, Albion and Midgard, but at least on Hibernia, we have people who ask every day, you know, is craft set re-enabled or is it still deactivated? And, you know, I kind of feel like this is one of those things, you know, it's a feature in the game that Atlas introduced along with other servers before them that to automate crafting. Is it going to be punishable by a bannable offense to use an automated program to do our crafting while craft set is still disabled? Or is it going to be one of those things that's kind of a double-sided sword? Are we going to be punished for doing something that they offer us in game that they have currently disabled? Or, you know, that's just one of the small, you know, a couple of things that I have against it. Like, they have so many things that it's useful for that they already have things enabled for it, but they're just all turned off right now.
I think they're willing to overlook it as long as you're in a capital city. But if you're outside in the frontier or somewhere like that, it's a no-go scenario.
Yeah,
I think as long as you're in a capital city, some of the rules are bendable. But outside of the capital city, there's, you know, don't do it.
Yeah, I could definitely see in the devs being a little lenient if you're using, say, an auto clicker to craft for you, because their server has a means to auto craft. Now, if you're out in the frontiers or if you're spamming mushrooms somewhere, now the auto clicker is a problem because they don't have that built into the game.
And I was I was spitballing with the dev team about auto hotkey one day. This is during beta, about my poison macro, because I have a poison macro that will poison 4 different types of poisons across 8 different weapon sets. So I was talking to the dev team to see if they could make something similar that would auto poison for you once you leave combat, and they said that they were open to the idea, but they definitely didn't have any time, especially with the issues they were dealing with up to this point. So that's something that they may tamper with later on down the line if it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, everything's always going to be situational. And, you know, with the auto hotkey weapon swaps for, say, a Blade Master or even a Mercenary with the shield slams, it's whatever. But I don't know. I think that if the game's playing for you, like if you're doing slash stick, tab target, find someone, auto attack, tab target, auto attack, that type of repeating offense, that's where I think auto hotkeys are an issue. But I can't see them being an issue to say I'm running these buffs, minstrel twisting, paladin chance, stuff like that. Or if you're doing as a ranger, like your hotkey haze with the I target, I hit my crit shot, it faces for me, it pulls your bow. Or if you need to swap a weapon, you push this button, it swaps to the weapons and does this style. It's what you're going to use. But there are some things that can be triggerable. And now with the other issue, someone was mentioning in chat with their auto hotkeys, setting up, you know, the ghost button clicks, depending on your MS to the server, auto hotkey could be a massive hindrance for you as opposed to just trying to play the game, because it'll skip a chant, it'll not key up a style. It could be really issue.
Yeah, it's a little different on Atlas because Atlas has a different back-end code than the other servers out there. Okay, so Uthgard gave their Phoenix or their code to Phoenix. Phoenix had some sort of falling out with the dev team, and then they broke off into Celestius and Phoenix. All right, so the dev teams from Celestius, they made their own server. It didn't work out, so they joined and merged with Eden. So from Uthgard, Phoenix, Celestius, Eden, they're all using the same base code.
Exactly, Whiskey.
Atlas started from scratch.
1 second, big points.
Atlas is using a different backend code that actually receives your inputs much faster. There's no sort of buffer, there's no sort of delay. And when you put in something like a bunch of chants without any sort of buffer between the chants, they'll either fire out of order or they'll miss. So that's why a lot of people that are coming from different servers, including live, come to Atlas, try their scripts doesn't work. Either firing out of order or it's missing buttons. And that's because there's no buffer. There's no delay on the server side that reads every single individual input and funnels it through one at a time. That's why you're seeing a difference.
Yeah, I noticed that with when I was running one of your paladin scripts for my savage. It was skipping things all the time, or it would double cast them. And I don't know if you're familiar with savages, but if you cast a buff while it's already active,
HP.
It charges your XP, even though you have 10 seconds left. But at the end of the buff is when you charge the HP. I was like, oh, this sucks. Nope, no more disable it. Just kill it.
So Dstap earlier was talking about his level 50 that he accidentally deleted. And Dstap has gone from Albion to Hibernia to now Midgard. And we've kind of ran into a little situation with realm hopping. And I know Karma was really noticing this when we were trying to do some sort of stealth raid take from Midgard. It didn't work out for us. By the time we actually got to the Relic Keep, we were just outside the Relic Keep, and then somebody in our BG was like, "Shh, public service announcement, we're having a raid. Everyone come." And then all of a sudden, numbers from Hibernia went down, numbers from Midgard went up. And by the time we busted down the front door and got on the second door, they had our BG incoming. of like 100+ people. So
Oh,
we had talked about this on the previous open discussion that everybody got attention on. Okay, it had like 1,200 hits on just Twitch, and then another additional 400 or 500 on YouTube. So people are starting to listen to that. That also got the attention of every dev team out there. Doesn't matter who it was. Even I'm sure Broadsword's even listening to it at this point. So what's happened is you got this shakeup. Phoenix immediately changed all of their stuff. They walked back a lot of things that they said they were going to do. And Eden contacted me and said they wanted to talk. So I was like, okay. But I think one of the things that got a lot of attention was the realm timers. So I don't know what the magic number is for realm timers. Polemo and Pills Power believe it's at least 4 hours to 6 hours. What do y'all think?
it definitely needs to be 4 to 6 hours, but I think the other issue, the minute you do something on a realm, say if I log off my mids, let me go on my Hibs. If I do a transaction, if I craft, kill a single monster, it needs to trigger. Because I could run around Hibernia on an Animist farming plat for days, and it won't trigger unless I'm doing something in the frontiers. And then I see, hey, Karma's running a BG to go for a relic. Oh shit, let me get on my mids and go fight him. That's the timer, even if it's a half hour, an hour, but the timer needs to trigger as soon as you're doing something on a foreign realm.
I think there should be a grace period in which it doesn't trigger. Let's say 15-20 minutes. You can do whatever you want for 15-20 minutes. After that point, the timer clicks in. But I think there has to be one for PvE and RVR, like you're saying.
Yeah, but like I said, like if I was on an Albion with a Camelot just farming up plat, or Hibernia farming up plat, I could immediately go over to mid and go RVR. I think there needs to be, now if I'm over there for an hour, like you said, with a trigger of time, like even if it's not just a single instance of hitting a monster or of crafting or something, but if I've been over there for an hour, but it can't just be an hour, because if oh shit, 59 minutes, let me log off, log back in, I get to restart my hour. I think it needs to be a cumulative type of thing.
I just play. Like, just don't be a dick. Like, if you're playing over on Hib and you want to farm or whatever, and you see a raid, obviously I know many people just jump over and do look, because that instance the other day with Hib and mid and the switch was everywhere. But if I'm on Hib at that time, obviously this is just me, and I see a relic raid, I'm like, cool, but I continue doing. I don't even have the process of saying, oh, maybe I should go on my mid and do. I don't know. I don't have that. I never have. I pop realms and go from one realm to another, but it's
We'll
never
get to Eden
because
in a little while,
a relic
Luke.
raid or because this realm has these relics, or if it did, I sure as hell wouldn't be on mid right now.
Oh
I'd be
yeah,
on Hib.
there's always going to
But
be the relic hoppers.
yeah, and I know, and I've seen it for 20 years. As soon as somebody has a relic or somebody has a bigger BG, they jump, but I've never done that. I just, if I'm on a realm for today, then I'm on the realm. I don't, oh, hold on, let me message Hazefest real quick. Hey, they're coming for your relics. Like, and I know there's people that will do that and have done that. Not saying to Hazefest, but just looking at the
Oh,
screen and somebody's name.
yeah. I
But
mean, there's been times
it's just,
where I'd get info about certain things, and I'm like, yep, I'm not telling a soul until I'll see the relic raid under attack. Oh, by the way, hey, they're coming for the relic. Oh, no
yeah.
shit, we saw the alert. Okay.
And even like I think Phoenix, they had like a 3 or 4 realm RVR timer, but you could still jump from realm to realm. So if your buddy was on Elb and you were on mid, and Elb was doing a relic, you could jump over, tell your buddy, and then do whatever. But like when the game came out, I know this is going back. Some of you probably didn't even play back then. Maybe some of you did. I don't even. Maybe some of you weren't even born. I don't know. I'm old. But when it first came out, it was you picked one realm and that was it.
Metagaming, yes.
You couldn't. It was one server. There's like 10, 12 servers, I think 15.
Just
maybe.
like in Dungeons
And
and
you
Dragons.
picked that one
or
and that was
Mugen.
it. The only way you could go to another realm on that server was delete. Like I did my minstrel, I could have went wherever I wanted. Cry. But that's how it was. So if there was a server called Palamites, which I started on. If you were playing on Palamites and you were L, you're L. If you want to go on play, say Midgard, you had to pick one of the other servers, Merlin, Lancelot, or any of these other ones. So to have 1 tune on each realm, you're on 3 different servers. Obviously, fast forward 10, 15 years, they combined everything and they had, I think when they first did it, it was 24 hours. You couldn't even log into another realm for 24 hours. You logged into Elb, you were flagged for 24 hours. That was it. People got pissed. People were crying all over the place. They lowered it to 12 hours, and then it was pretty much instant. Having a 4-hour pick your realm, as soon as you log in, that's it. So make your choice. Where do you want to play? I think would be, some people would cry, but the 90% of the population who plays Dark Age of Camelot is going to find a reason to cry anyways. So, but even like a 4-hour, I see the chat going on your screen on the people saying 24 hours, 12 hours. But just pick a time. You can't log on to another realm, and it's not going to fix anything. It's just going to make people mad. But there has to be something that sets it so you can't just jump over and be like, "Hey, this is going on." There should even 2 hours of a no one realm. That's it for 2 hours because you only have one account, so you can't
Well,
bounce back.
on that one account, I've been hearing through the grapevine that many people are running multiple accounts to get away from any of those timers, and they've been in mid BGs, and then you'd end up seeing them a similar, very very similar name in a Hibernian BG or even an Alb BG. I mean, I thought I was bad with 4 level 50s on 2 on Hibernia and 2 on Midgard. But to have fully tempted on all 3 realms with very similar names might be a little something for some devs to be looking into.
They can cheat and bounce realm to realm and have 2 accounts and 3 accounts, but you run AHK and you're a cheater.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Where's the line drawn? What do y'all think of the in-game on Atlas currently?
It's kind of hit or miss. Being a North American prime time, typically trying to get any type of RVR going, you'll see like BGs going, but there's no like 8-man thing. And then like the few 8-man things that you're getting into, the EU guys are getting off, and then the NA guys are coming on, but they're not all ready to go. So trying to run out with a patchwork group, it's rough. It's rough. Now that's on mid. I'm not sure how Hibernia is with it. Obviously, you guys are running a lot of PvE raids and the like that. But on mid, they're not doing a lot of PvE raids. And I just noticed today that on the patch, they're increasing the epic boss spawn timers to, what, 8 hours now?
They're doing them too fast.
I agree with that. I think being able to run the epic dungeons multiple times a day and every day is detrimental to healthy RVR. In fact, I was suggesting like a 72-hour lockout for individual players or a 72-hour respawn timer on the epic bosses, because right now we're running into a huge overflow of Atlas orbs to the point where people can't even sell the items that are supposed to be the most valuable in the game. You'll see people spam constantly in trade chat that they want to sell some of the Galadoria in-game items, and they're just like trash. There's like piles of them everywhere, and people are tripping over them because there's so many orbs floating.
I think I saw today when I was just perusing the marketplace, one of the TG chess pieces off the last boss, 300 gold on housing.
What? Hold on. I gotta go to housing.
The orbs are dirt cheap. But now with those timers, though, since Dark Age is a worldwide game, you're going to have EU timers and NA timers. If there's a huge respawn time, certain people are going to be left in the dust, not being able to do them.
Which
So
is why I recommend the
personal lockouts.
lockout. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely help. But then if the people that need to do it on 2 characters in order to ensure that the raid gets done, now we got to see about nerfing the bosses, and now you're going to have 12, 14 people in there monopolizing the bosses like they did on live.
Did just a quick one, did any of you play Celeste when it came out?
I played it at the very, very end, and I hated every little minute of it.
So in the I like that we didn't have to craft. That was like my favorite thing. Like I didn't have to craft. I just had my suit. That was great. But when it started and it was kind of when you hit 50, you went and fought Medusa, and then you got your ML10, and then you fought the dragon, and you got all your orbs. But that's when they ran into a problem too, because the dragon would. I think when it first came out, the dragon respawned every half, and everyone's out RVR. There's tons of people in RVR, and then mid BG was like, "Dragon's up," and there's not one person in RVR. Like every mid would pour it out, go kill the dragon, go back out to RVR. Hour later, poof, mids were gone for weeks, and then finally, Celeste was like, "All right, 8 hours before the dragon," and it's like clockwork. Albion Hib wasn't as bad, but mid, they were like gung ho on this dragon. Every 8 hours, no matter what anybody was doing, it was port to dragon lair, kill the dragon, get your gems, go back out to RVR. And it didn't matter. People were on our relic. Dragon up, we'd leave the relic
Oh, wow.
to go do the dragon.
I know on
It's like,
mid, it's that
timeout.
bad. Currently on Atlas, trying to get RVR groups or even leveling groups going, the minute someone mentions to run TG, LVG becomes a ghost town for RVR or XP groups because everyone's running to the PvE raid. And Atlas orbs, they're great. You can get them everywhere. RVR, you can get them in. You can get them. And because of how many people have, they're dirt cheap to get. I don't understand why so many people are still trying to run 3 or 4 of these raids a day. I personally don't get it, but if that's the way that they
they're
want
just
to play,
trying to template all their characters.
yeah. You know,
They know what they're going to be making, so they're just because the one BG raid leader, I think today or yesterday in chat, he's like, just so everyone knows, I'm done raiding TG for a while. He's like, I got what I need, so I'm taking a couple weeks off.
I think plenty of the battleground or the battle group leaders are feeling that way because there's a lot of folks that mainly RVR, and they're just constantly complaining that it's a ghost town out there. And I think if more guilds follow in Conclave's footsteps, you're going to see a lot more people, take a back seat for the PvE and just start focusing on RVR. And that's kind of important because that's what's going to drive the end game, right? But I think there needs to be some more incentives for the RVR crews. Like I think there needs to be like 8-man quests. Like go take a keep as an 8-man. That should be a quest.
they added those in monthly. There's a monthly quest now that you have to take like 20 keeps and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you can't even do that as a BG right now. You have to do that as an 8-man or solo or whatever. And I know some people earlier, and when I was running the relic defense and the keep retake to take on Albion mid at the same time, I know a lot of people were jumping ship on the battle group just so they could start working on that. But I think in the process of that entire time, I think nobody made it over 100 in that because it was still counting for BG kills.
So it's not registering kills in the BG?
Nope, it's not registering kills or keep takes inside the BG.
Because I know the daily and the weekly one, as long as you're near someone that dies, you get credit for it.
Yeah. I can say this much. I do agree. I do think they should add a couple of keep takes and kills, extra quests out there. Now they do have some. They've got the kill 25 or kill 15 or kill 10 or go save your realm from disaster from the undead army of whatever the hell from Jamaica or some
Yeah.
shit. They don't have anything for keeps. They have no incentive. 250 realm points for an unclaimed keep and claimed keep, because honestly I've taken enough keeps at this point to know that 250 for claimed and unclaimed, doesn't matter what level.
And then what you get? What 1100 for the conquest keep?
It depends. That you'll read the algorithm on it. If you're taking a conquest keep and you kill people inside of it, the realm points, the progression for it goes up. So say for instance you kill 100 people inside of it, it may go up like from 1,000 as base to like 2,400 or something like that. But it's still not a dramatic gain. You could kill 1,000 players in there and still not get something worth the realm points you're getting.
I think they need to do some work on conquest. I think they need to increase the length of time that conquest actually goes on, because 45 minutes up and down just isn't enough. And I think that if you do take, let's say they make it 3 hours for conquest and then like an hour downtime or something, as long as you're taking keeps, that timer should increase. Like let's say it's like a old video game that you pay quarters for to play, right? You'd get in there, little race car, and you go around the lap, and every time you hit a checkpoint, which would be taking a keep, you get so much more time. And I think if you did that over and over and over again, you could just keep conquest indefinitely going or something. But I think as long as conquest is going and that multiplier is building, I think people should be able to go out and have a good time, because you're not going to see these 45-minute BGs. You're going to see these BGs last for 2-3 hours sometimes, as long as people are having fun.
Yeah.
See, I had an idea. I don't remember which server did it. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you if it was Genesis, if it was in my imagination, if it was World of Warcraft. I can't tell you what server did it. But hell, I could have even dreamed it. But there was an idea that I had where you take certain keeps, not even the keeps, take the zones, and you make them double realm points in those zones and put it on a rotation. So 3 zones from each realm, Hibernia, Albion, Midgard, and you put 1 zone in each as double realm points, and that applies to everything. That applies to your keep takes, that applies to your kills, that applies to your reviving, that applies to everything. And you have that on a rotation to keep people moving. Because right now what we face as a problem is Midgard and Albion likes to come to E-Main and camp, and they don't want to go anywhere else. They don't want to go to Odin's, or they don't want to go to Hadrian's Wall. They don't want to go back to the basement. They don't want to go anywhere else. They want to go to E-Main and they want to stay there. And that's a major problem, because E-Main is really a long walk for Hibernia, but I'm not going to complain for us because we do own all 6 relics. So I'm not going to say we're complaining, but it is a very long walk for people who do want to go and do 8-mans. So
Especially
if you were to throw a rotation in there, you would give people more of an incentive to get the hell out of E-Main.
That, and with Old Frontiers, the terrain is not the best suited for massive fights. So if the Al BG, the Mid BG, and the Hibernian BG all meet in E-Main, there's a lot of places that it's just going to be a freaking clusterfuck. Like there's no AJing, there's no backpedaling, the flank, and at that point, I think we might have to bring it up to the devs to see maybe can we go New Frontiers? I know that's bad in some people's ears, but I don't know.
Ooh.
A lot of
Keep
people
old
just report
RAs
you.
though, right? keep the old RAs, but with New Frontier. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, just for the space that New Frontiers has. I was watching today on a few streamers that were stealthers, and they're trying to fight in E-Main. The minute they even pop on someone, they're getting ran over by a full group, let alone if the Zerg rolls through them. And
Well,
I mean, go ahead.
since beta, the stealthers have been in certain areas, and some of us have done videos. Some of us have, shown where we camp, and that just gave 8-man's like, well, we know where they're going to be, and that's kind of what in beta. That's what conquest. That's the whole concept of what they brought out in beta and conquest was get people out of E-main. Obviously, in beta, when there's 7 people online at prime time, we're all going to E-main. Like and I was a stealther, and I was on my nightshade, and I didn't want to run into a group, so I stealthed from DL all the way into E-main. But it was nice because every time I got into a fight, Purge was up, Void Pain was up, all my toys were up every time. Because it's like a 20-minute run in stealth. But that was kind of the whole principle of that. When
Similar,
again,
Mike.
going
Similar.
back to patch level, I remember three-way Zerg fights at AMG. Hibs had 200 or 300 people in Hib Valley. Mids had their side, and Elves were at the Mile Gate. And back then, we were all on dial-up, so it was like 1 frame per second. But it was huge fights, and they would last forever. And then NF came. Well, I enjoy NF. It's got a lot of room, but I don't know if the population at this moment. It's kind of the population that we have right now on Atlas is somewhere in between OF and NF, where it's
Exactly.
just almost too much for OF if everyone stays in E-main, and it's just a little too little for all of the room of NF.
Which goes to the point of
I got 2 things
Where can-
about Old
okay.
Frontiers. Since main is such a focus point, what would you guys say to like a realm point cap, either personal or just for the zone daily? Like once there's a certain threshold of realm points earned from everybody in that zone, you no longer get anything, and it tells you so.
that could work, but
I don't really want to do that because it's
It's-
punishing to some people
you're
that
punishing
prefer that play
people.
style.
because like you'll have
So,
one team that'll
That's one idea I had to combat main. Alternative, like you said, was to rotate the zones out, give every other zone a bonus except for main.
yeah. I think that could hurt people though, because you'll get like one
Yeah.
group to get to their cap. They
Yeah,
have to move
exactly.
out. Now they're going to be in a ghost town waiting for other people to get there.
Exactly.
Now,
And then you could log in and not even know that the points are capped at that point.
would it be a cap for like that per person?
Yeah.
I mean, it could
Like,
be per
when
person.
you
It's just
hit
it'd be
a
up to the
person-
devs, really.
Yeah, but I mean, if like
I don't really
one-
want to put limitations like that because, like,
Didn't
unfair.
wasn't it Phoenix that had like the task? They had similar like a task, but then once
They had a banner system that you had to go cap.
it,
That came up every once in a while.
that would after a certain realm would get a specific amount of realm points in a zone, you'd get like a bit of that pool. Something
Yeah.
like that, to where like that jackpot will be like, hey, Japton Mountains. Now Japton
you're-
Mountains will accrue a percentage of all the realm points there. If you were
Yeah.
involved in it, you'd get a cut of that pool.
Yeah, I think the people like giving bonuses to other areas to incentivize people moving out of main.
Yeah,
And then
because
you'll just see all the stealthers sitting in Penine just waiting to stab people as they come through.
I mean, with that idea, I mean, you've got to think. You've got, say, for instance, in Hibernia, the bonus zone is Mount Colorado, so right outside of well, yeah, let's say Briefine. So you got Briefine. You got 4 keeps there. What's the one for Albion? Pennine
Yeah,
Mountain?
Penine.
Yeah, Panine.
All right, so Pennine Mountains, you've got Briefing, and then I don't remember the Midgard one, but I'm gonna say Jamtland Mountains. So you've got an RP bonus for ×2 RPs in all 3 zones. Any 8-man group that's still sitting in E-main is gonna go to Briefing. No matter what, they're just gonna go to Briefing. You're not gonna be able to stop them from coming to Hiblands. They're just all gonna go to E-main, or from E-main to Briefing. They're gonna go 5 seconds lower, and they're going to be right there in the ×2 zone. The only way you would be able to sort of mimic a counter to that is if you were able to set it up to be like mirroring zones. So if it's briefing for Hibernia, then it's Hadrian's for Albion and something else for Midgard. And then when it switches, maybe say Emain for Hibernia, then it's got to be something of similar value to not just Hibernia's, but also Midgard and Albion. Something of similar value of time to get to as well. So briefing, make it Hadrian's and Odin's. If it's Emain, then I really don't know what to tell you. Honestly, I would never make a bonus zone E-main to begin with because
What
that's where everybody
about
hangs out now.
you eliminate Odin, Hadrian's, and Emain from the pool? And then it could be Upland, it could be Mount Cordery, Gorge, one zone to be that. This way, that's where all the action's going to be. Now, one time it's going to be in mid. They have to run. Everyone else can port there. One time it could be over in Alb versus all three of them, because then you're kind of spreading out the action.
Now, no,
My other idea for original Frontiers, all the keeps in original Frontiers kind of suck, and I think that's why everybody likes New Frontiers better. But what if we took out the center? This would be a lot of work on the devs, but what if they took out the center keep and they put like a New Frontier tower or a custom built centerpiece
That
in the
could
middle?
work, but I think that's going to definitely, because even the terrain around the keeps would have to be altered in a way, because a lot of them in
They're like on a
Midgard
hill.
are up on a little pedestal and there's nothing around it. And
Yeah.
they're very, very narrow. There's only one entry point. So I know when Mid and Albs were at a fight, it was a standstill. We'd be on one side of the door, they'd be on the other side of the door, and we're hoping to hit a mez ball with some stuns on people on the ground or people up on the wall. It's not until someone finally says F it and Leroy Jenkins out the door or Leroy Jenkins in the door that you actually get something to happen.
yeah.
Because no one's dying, everyone's healed. We're just throwing dots and throwing diseases back and forth, going, well, this is fun. Could someone charge now?
See I think the main goal, if RVR is going to be revived in a way, because let's face it, the only time RVR ever actually happens on the server is late night, because late night NA. 8v8 groups come out to play. You've got a couple of 8v8 groups that come from Midgard. You've got like one 8v8 group or two 8v8 groups that come out from Albion. And then you've got like 20 8v8 groups that come out from Hibernia, but we'll talk about that later. And, you know, they all go out to E-main and they fight. Some of them, they end up getting off. Some of them end up staying around. There's always usually a good couple of fights going on. Hell, every night I go out there, I get in an 8v8 group. Sometimes I'm with one of my officers, Higo. I get my ass handed to us by this guy named Dim Apples from Midgard. I mean, his group just runs train over us every single time we've come across him, and that's Midgard. And that's, you know, that's not even just because of the strength relics. That's skill based. So you've got professional 8v8 groups out there from all three realms that can really bring the hurt down on somebody. And I think the only way to really revive that kind of playstyle on the server to make it more diverse is to make a change. And that change could be something, you know, either we go from OF to NF and make the zones a little bit bigger, which would be a detriment to the server during non-prime times, or we stay OF and let everyone just hang out in E-main and kill the server's RVR over time. Because I mean, like earlier today, we went out for our keep defense. We got intel that Midgard was coming after us from their mile gate. I pulled back the BG. We ran up the hill. Alps came out a little bit and then turned around and went back inside Krim. We ran down. We inked mids as they were coming up across the thing. Wiped them. Turned on Alb. Wiped them. Took back Krim. Moved into E-main to Crotch and Gorge. Any and every 8-man fight that was out there, non-existent. Because every single one of them got added by the Zerg. And that's 140 to 160 people that were out there. There
And-
was no such thing as 8-man.
And that's the issue that I currently have with Old Frontiers, is if E-man is the zone, if you have 2 or 3 8-mans from any realm at any given time, they can't help but stumble over each other. There's just no room. You're either up on a wall or you're down in a valley or you go hit the tower by, was it Albion Mile Gate or Midgard Mile Gate? It's always chasing, and everyone is jumping right on each other. It's a shame. But overall population, I don't think we have enough to warrant new frontiers. But we definitely need something to happen to change RVR in a way so that it's not a Zerg fest, but 8-mans can actually have fights without it being 8-mans turning into a Zerg, which then turns into a BG. It's just always ends up being a Zerg fest, and that scares a lot of casuals or not 8v8 guys from joining an 8v8 group, which hurts overall RVR because they could go RVR, but unless there is an actual BG, they won't list themselves for RVR.
Yeah. I mean, let's realistically face it. Let be real fast. What's the pros and the cons of NF versus OF? So let's hear it. In OF, the zones are small. The only real good zone, honestly, the only really good frontiers area is Hibernia. Most of it's flat lands. There's not a lot of hills that kind of have a bunch of stuff like Albion. It's not solid white like Midgard that completely blinds me and hurts my eyes every time I go out there.
Oh, I hate it. Especially if you're using a transparent freaking UI, you can't see shit.
Oh yeah. So I mean, and OF is like extremely bad for 2 of the 3 realms, and only 1 realm has any real, coverage coming from OF, and that's Hibernia. Like we can't really make out to E-main as quickly as the other 2 realms because they can teleport there. But as far as OF goes, we can do whatever we want. OF is the best place for us. But New Frontiers, I mean, let's face it, it caters to Zerging. It caters to 8-mans. It
Yes.
caters to small mans. It caters to leveling. It caters to PvE even with
and
POC.
and stealthers, because you have so many different places to set up. You got docks, you got portal keeps, you got the bridges through Agramon to get to the other 2 realms. There are just so many ways for stealthers to set up. You got portal keeps so that you can move yourself around pretty well. You have an active war map with towers that like even an 8-man can have fun taking out towers and keeps, and the keep fights in New Frontiers are exquisite. Keep fights in Old Frontiers are just so bland. I can't stand them. Now,
They're also blonde.
Yeah, they're blonde. Yes.
I mean, there are things in Old Frontiers that cater to people a little bit more. NMCC2168 said it, each room has its advantages on the frontiers. I'm still going to hate on mid because it's all white, though.
It blinds me, and I can't see my inventory right because I use transparent shit and I can't read the text and what.
Reshade.
Yeah.
Reshade this.
But
hey, he's fat. His guy has a helper for you. Right on his Google Drive. Fixes everything.
But in New Frontiers, I mean, the pros of New Frontiers is just amazing. So I mean, think about it. Prime time, you've got Zergs and 8-mans running around taking not only the towers but also the CKs, which both should reward realm points, which would be amazing to have right now. You've got your bridge fights, which were absolutely awesome. I mean, I loved fighting in Hibernian lands on the bridge from Kroshen, where everybody from Albion and it would, portal in and whatnot. You've got boats to get around to places. And then on top of that, Agramon was a neutral RVR area that a lot of the times those Zergs actually meted up in those areas. And it made it a little bit more fun in some ways. But I mean, think about it. You've got prime time, you got your Zergs and your 8-mans. They're running around, they're killing players, they're taking down keeps and towers. Their towers are going down faster because they've got more people. But the New Frontier keeps were actually designed properly for Zerging in big BGs. They were actually designed properly for it. And with New Frontiers, wait, go ahead.
Let me touch on that. currently on Atlas, Zerging, right? BGs, 100 plus people going to take keeps and stuff. I can tell you right now, my level 50 solo that's not even templated killed 2 greens, and I got over 650 realm points for each of them. So if I'm going into a BG to take a keep, and it takes me 15 minutes to kill the keep with 100 people, and I only get a 650 bonus for level 5 keep, is it really worth it?
It's not.
I think they need to increase the realm points by like 500%.
I mean, with that said, you also don't want people to basically get a free realm rank 5 just by Zerg surfing and taking keeps, not knowing exactly what they're doing. But
they're already getting realm rank 4 and 5 just eating people in an 8v8.
yeah.
So, Atlas tried to stop something, and the something they tried to stop comes from 2 different people. Polemo and Pills, that most of you know across the other servers as major BG runners, they go from keep to keep and they fight in BGs in massive ways, and it's always in massive ways, big fights all the time. What Atlas, I feel like they tried to stop was they tried to stop people from keep surfing those realm points, because you got to think they were taking a keep and then another keep would get taken and then the next Zerg would come behind them and take that keep, and it was a continuous let's surf across these keeps back and forth. Every now and then they'd come across each other and they'd fight. One Zerg gets sent home, the other has to go and revive all their people. It creates downtime, and then they eventually just stopped fighting each other and took on the keeps themselves, and RVR became PvE until the 8-mans came out and actually, fought. And I think Atlas did a somewhat good job at holding down the keep surfing idea of it, because keeps on this server were more for let's go open up DF, let's go save our realm, let's go defend our relics. That's what the keeps were meant for here. But you're right, you show up to a keep take, you spend 15 minutes taking down a level 5 claimed keep, and you get fucking 400, 500 to 1,000 realm points, and you can get that in an 8v8 group in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If not triple
Or
or
less.
4 times that.
And really, the only benefit to take the keeps is only if you're planning on doing a relic raid, because that just lowers the difficulty of the guards. Outside of that, an 8v8 group has 0 incentives to take keeps, even if it's a take back keeps or whatnot. They just, or let alone claim it. It's literally you just take the guard down, right out the door and go. No one's claiming them. And there's no incentive to really get the keeps, and it's why even have them.
Yep.
Now, and going back to what I was saying before we started on that, in New Frontiers, once the prime time dies, let's say we go from our average 1,500 players a day, let's say we go down to 300, 400, 500 players. Those 300, 400, 500 players, they log in, they make small mans, they go out into New Frontiers. We're not fighting keeps, we're fighting towers. So, that's helpful, because now small mans and the 8-mans at late night are actually able to do something, whereas the keeps were meant to be taken down by more than just one full group.
Yeah. So now moving on from the RVR front, is there anything else that obviously we need to take that conversation to the forums so that it's actually static and concrete that the devs see and change it? Because if we're talking about it on Discord, within 3 or 4 comments, it's gone. Devs are going to lose sight of it. So like suggestions on what can we do to get changes needs to go to the forums where we can actually have a static communication about it. Now, with the stability issues that we've pretty much solved mostly, where should we be going next for balance or other qualities of life? Is there, I know friars, people are always complaining about friars. I know left axe has just been addressed with a lot of different things. What do you guys think that should be like a high priority for the dev teams to get on?
So, high priority past the balancing or past the lag fixes and the crashing and everything else is they should start balancing out classes that have been in the long running completely broken. So I don't know about Midgard and Albion. I can only speak for Hibernia's sake on classes because I don't play the other two realms. But I do know that we do have issues on Hibernia with our champions and our debuffs from there. Now, I personally don't play a champion as much as I should. I have one that's level 50, but I don't play it as often. But I have noticed in that time period and from other people that the debuffs don't debuff as much as they should. And that's something that, you know, a champion is our 1v1 too. That is our, if you come across us, you're not jumping us because we will completely kill you. And we will sit on top of your body while we regen the 5% of our health that you took down.
Oh
That
man,
was a champion.
I love champions.
But right now, a champion isn't even a threat. Their debuffs mean nothing.
No. I think something that could maybe be addressed for even like Scalds is their instance costing the endo cost on it. Now I know we are 1.65 and casting spells does cost endo, but I think that might be a balance issue that could be addressed because the endo cost for a champion to cast all their debuffs, that endo bar is gone. I know even for a Scald for their for their Amez and their two DDs, that's like more than 25% of their endo. And I don't know how the minstrels are, but I know, or let alone any of the other instant casting solo characters classes are for Alb.
Yeah, minstrels are, well, we're always on end. Always. All the everything we have to do and twisting on top of it and sprinting and yeah. Once we actually get into combat, it's yeah, you're really out of power. Like it is, and it with Longwind, Tireless, Blue, Endopod. 90% of everywhere I've played, your endo doesn't even go down. Like it's not even a thought. And with all three of those now, you still run out of power. I mean, you could make alchemy have the next step up, a yellow one, whatever the next endo is, and make it a little bit more expensive, a little harder to make, but that would lower that because even on my Shadow Blade when I play, I'm like 3 or 4 double frost, and then I'm just kind of just meleeing them because I can't style. I mean, it regens fast, but that can mean 3 seconds in a fight can mean getting hit with a stun or something. You can't style that. The endo definitely has to be looked at. It was fine, and then they changed it, and then they changed it again. It went back to fine, and then they adjusted it again, and that's what we have now.
Well,
Oh yeah,
the devs will fix it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely some balance issues that's definitely going to be up, but I must say the stability has gotten so much better, and these
Oh yeah.
Atlas devs, they like to stalk us and troll us around. Navs, he's in chat tonight, and I have another dev that's actually in chat tonight. He's Frida, the lead GM of Eden, has some stuff he wants to come in and talk to us about. Frida, you there?
I am here.
Well, hello. How are you doing this fine Sunday?
Oh, I'm exhausted. I just got done moving some furniture and stuff, but made it in time, so we're all good.
Oh, fantastic. So how was your weekend?
So far, not too bad. It's come to an end too soon, but Mondays are my relaxed day.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same. So we got a couple of our streamers from Atlas here. We got Hazefest and Dstap, and Karma's
Hello.
our Hibernian BG leader, and I think you had an interview with Dstap before. So I have a few questions with your server, and I'm pretty sure the other guys do, and maybe even chat does as well. So Eden is going to be TOA, but it's not going to have the artifacts or master levels, but the raids and the encounters are still going to be there.
Right, the encounters are still going to be there. So, for instance, Raging Tornado is one of the encounters in TOA. So we're going to have all the TOA zones and mobs and everything. Our vision is to have those encounters set up to where they're as authentic as they can be to live. So we've been watching videos and stuff like that, and watching their mechanics using Alakazam, any resources that we have to build the mechanics around that. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to run those encounters, and off of those encounters, you're going to get, high level ROGs. You may get some one-time drops. We're talking about doing TOA skins. So like Cyclops Eye, you'd be able to skin your shield for Cyclops Eye. Things of that nature. It's just not going to have the ML abilities or the ML raids or anything like that.
So it's going to be a TOA light per se.
Right.
Okay, now the other question that I have from watching your intro video. Mounts, are they going to be baseline like champion level horses, or are they going to be behind certain milestones?
So there's some thought behind that. We're talking about, possibly doing a small quest line to get them to where it just doesn't show up in, everybody's inventory. You have to, do a little bit to get it. It's not going to be, like live used to be, where you'd have to go through all the rigmarole of getting them out. And then, of course, your Eden shards and stuff like that, you'd be able to purchase and upgrade and make it your own style type mount.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, now the other thing, so I know you guys just did a huge post today. So BG leaders get rewards. Is it only going to be the banners and a title and not exclusive mounts? Because I'm afraid that certain people that shouldn't be BG leaders going, oh, let me lead a BG so that I can get the special mount.
Oh, so it's not going to be any special mounts like that. As it was posted in the announcement, we're going to have, there are going to be some milestones that can be met running a BG, and whether that be PvE or RVR or whatever. But the main thing we wanted to bring forth to the community was, everybody's saying, all right, stick up on me, I'm moving. Well, which of the 100 people are you? Unless you have a macro that targets, one of the BG leaders, it's target your group member, and if your group member spazzes off somewhere and, oh look, it's Lurricane, we're going to go chase it. It's going to help. Those banners are going to help say, okay, I'm the BG leader, follow me. So that's the purpose behind that. And then some of the other milestones that we're going to have, toll gates and stuff, you might put in XP rewards, where they could put a buff for everyone around them, not just themselves. So it helps the community with the efforts that they've done. So, you're going out there, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the time, hopefully people are listening to you, probably not. But you're out there doing your thing, and, to sort of give back and say, hey, come follow me. I'm I'm good. Let's get this going. We are going to have, a few of those, but nothing in a sort of anything that's going to give them any, exclusive mounts or anything like that. We do have the armor skins and stuff, which are kind of cool, but I mean, anybody can get those off of reskinning from TOA skins and stuff.
One other question. Is there going to be the I know on Atlas they just added a BG in-game loot rolling system. I don't know if you've seen it or anything, but are you going to have something similar to that, or you're going to have like a loot box for BG leaders to push loot through, or anything like that?
So that's a two-form approach. We are thinking of different approaches of that, especially in like RVR. We've kind of tossed around the idea of, you kind of like what live used to do, where you take a keep and oh, your name gets rolled and you go open up the thing and you get a key, so forth, so on. And so we've thought about doing loot boxes. We've thought of, it's a lot of the same code that was on Celestius. Of course, Celestius didn't have, raids and stuff, but the code base is already there to do the BG roles and keep it in game and stuff like that. So all of that's already there. It's just which direction are we going to go? Are we going to, have someone, spawn something, or we haven't quite got to that yet. We want to, get through alpha phase and get that 1 through 24 experience and get the feedback from that. And then push forward to the more high end dungeons, the dragons, the RVR loot type stuff.
I want to correct something real fast, not for you, Frida. NMCC2168 from the chat. I'm not the only one doing stuff for people. Hazefest here has created on multiple times countless materials for this server, as well as for people to use. Dstap leads as well. He plays on Albion. Most of you who don't play on Albion won't know him. And Maykrel just recently went from Hibernia to Midgard, and he's also started to help them out with their BG leadership. No, I'm not the only one who does stuff for people. Sorry about the interruption.
Oh no, it's good. I just lost my train of thought. I derailed it, killing thousands. Hayes, you have anything for Frida?
I think one of the biggest things that I've seen kind of whispered around Phoenix and Eden, and I personally am curious. The only thing in the character planner that is a huge red flag is bone dancers. And the reason I bring them up is because they both have Twiff and negative maelstrom. No other class in the game has that combination. And once they reach a certain realm rank, they become suicide bombers, and they sit in towers all day, and they can kill upwards of 100, 200 people if they get a well-placed Twiff and negative maelstrom. Is there anything going to be done about bone dancers in that regard?
Yeah, you're not the only one that's brought that up, and it's a good point. Staying true to the patch level, that's where that came from. We are definitely up for suggestions, and that, like I said, you're not the only one who's brought that up to the forefront. So it is something that our team is looking at, and we have brought up a couple of times slightly, in team meetings and stuff, but we've really been mainly focused on getting out the world build and getting all that ready. And that's where the alpha and the beta test really is going to, help us out to kind of fine tune those characters. I wouldn't say it's anything out of the realm of possibility of that being, moved or removed from that class. But it's definitely something I know, especially on Phoenix and, even live and stuff, it's just one of those things, like you said, they come in and, it's game over. It's crazy how powerful it is.
I mean, even if you just disable realm point gain while you're dead, I know that's not ideal, but that would put that class to where they have to use it actually in a realistic situation rather than just running in and killing themselves and killing 50 to 100 plus people with them.
Right.
Couldn't we just take it to where your spell effects go away on death, kind of like a buff? Like if you kill the shaman, their buffs go away. You kill the bone dancer, their twiff goes away.
Good suggestion.
I mean, just something for future balancing ordeals.
Yeah, I'll definitely, as y'all are saying stuff and putting notes, I'm putting it into our feedback dump on our staff server for sure.
We appreciate that. And this is awesome of you to take time out of your busy schedule. You probably have, stuff going on in your life. You have a whole server to run. You have a bunch of GMs to look after. And we appreciate the time that you have sacrificed to come on here and communicate your vision and your team's, drive to bring a quality experience to the community that everybody loves this game.
Yeah, and I appreciate y'all for having me. I mean, when I reached out and stuff like that, it really is about the community, and I want the community to understand our vision, and not giving a knock on Atlas. They've done a superior job in taking basically nothing with the base DOL code and making it what they have now. Props to them. We know with the Phoenix team has put out in the past. So our team is really focused on trying to not only provide that stability and the architecture that the community wants and strives for, but we want to try to exceed that with some of the things that we're coming up with and innovating with and stuff. And like I said on the podcast the other day, or the Twitch stream, a lot of our devs, they've got 10 plus years doing DOL stuff, and they're professional coders, and some of the stuff that they're doing, they're bringing it to the team meetings, and they're showing it, and it's like, where do you come up with this, guys? I mean, this is just not this isn't even DAoC anymore. It's a completely different thing, and it's just their imagination coming to the forefront. And it's great to see what they're putting together for us.
Oh, fantastic! Yes, I mean the things that these devs are able to do for the community, hands down, amazing. I don't think there's another game out there that has the free shards or private servers, whatever you want to call them, that does it the way that Dark Age does. I've played Lineage 2 servers, I've played World of Warcraft servers, I've played City of Hero private servers. They all seem to be in it for some sort of profit. Now, the one thing that a lot of these other servers do have that I'm kind of interested in, that I would like to see you maybe think about with an event or a seasonal server, is at the end of each season on a lot of these other games, they have a permanent server. That your seasonal server, when it goes to wipe, it doesn't wipe, but those characters are copied over to their permanent server, so that people who want to continue on with that one character can, or if there's like a league mechanic that they don't like with, like, say, Path of Exile, they can still continue to play the game on a character they put work on, as opposed to completely losing them. Would that be something in the means that Eden could do, or maybe even think about?
It's a good perspective. It's definitely something that can be done. I mean, that's just spinning up a second instance of the server and making season 2 that way. Like we've said, we don't want our seasons to be hard set 6, 9, 12 months or whatever. We really want to see what our dev team can bring to the forefront to try to keep the population there. And I think a lot of the stuff that they're putting together is going to be able to do that. In regards to, even the slow time, especially, late night North American time, when it gets slow, some of our ideas are to be able to still keep the population there and keep the population active. So if that continues, there's no point in doing a season 2 unless it's something, again, and it's like spinning up another free shard. If you start spinning up another season, you're just gonna water the base down, and your population is gonna spread out amongst those servers, kind of like what happened with Live, and they had to merge them all together. So I mean, it's definitely something that's a possibility. We're not putting that out of our minds. We just want to see what we can accomplish in season 1 and see if we can keep that season going for as long as we can, and accommodating as many of the needs and wants from the player base.
Very, yeah. Along with that, Karma, do you have any questions for Frida here?
Actually, yeah, I got a couple for you. Now, to no surprise, I will stand by and support Atlas, so I might have a biased question in one of these, but don't mind me if I do. Just tell me I'm an idiot and tell me to shut up. When it comes down to your seasons, this is something that I, as well as a lot of players, have been confused on or misled on, or the information's there, just people are bringing it around, kind of like how Atlas, a bunch of people were saying wipe hype at the end of soft launch going into hard launch. People were being misled by false information coming from players. What is going to be wiped on the end of each season, and what is the requirements for, or what would be the I remember something about hitting realm rank 5 would save certain things. So what's going to be wiped at the end of each season?
So basically, the thought process on it is, and great question, is, if we get to a point where the population has dwindled off to the point where we need to, maybe rethink the direction of the style of play. Let's say, just for instance, the style of play that we're doing now, maybe we want to switch over to a Mordred type system where it's, captures cities and defends your realm, your PvE realm and stuff. If we get to a point where the current season has dwindled off and players are, asking for, XYZ, we would put them back at level 1 and they would, level back up. They would likely keep their, realm ranks, their crafting and stuff like that, because those are hard earned. As long as they're not, too low level, realm rank 2 is not going to hurt you to have to start over. Um, so that's really the thought process behind it. But we really feel that our initial launch is going to go. We hope it's going to go well enough that the population doesn't dwindle and get to that point. We want to have a server that in 10 years people are still playing on it and still talking about it and still having fun with it. And if we can make a couple of changes here and there to a particular class, or if do a spin-off of something or whatever, we'll go down that path then. But really, that's what the season approach is about. Because if you look at the Freeshard history, except for like Uthgard or something like that, that's still just out there stagnant, just running CPU cycles, Bitcoin mining, who knows what it's doing. The Freeshard cycle has its ebbs and flows. So you dip down, population dwindles, a new server will come back up, people join it because it's something new. And that's sort of kind of what we're wanting to do, is we're wanting that plateau to last longer. You look at Phoenix. Phoenix lasted, a very long time, but a lot of that was
Lazy.
COVID. The lockdowns and things of that nature that really drove that population to stay, because they didn't have other things going on in their life, things of that nature. So we want our content to speak for itself in the season and not necessarily punish the player for playing.
Gotcha. Second question. What have you guys learned so far from your, let's call it a trial session with Celestius?
So Celestius, I mentioned before on the Twitch stream, it was a vision of a couple of the devs to not really make it an I-50, but something similar, to have a linear approach to leveling. So people would still get that little bit of PvE in, and they'd be able to do that, but really go out and just RVR. And some of the things that we learned from that was, one, the XP leveling was too fast. 2, the RP gains were too fast. People were getting to realm rank 11
in a weekend.
way too quickly. So that's where the toll gate system that we've come up with is going to try to help with that. You're still going to gain realm points, but you may be realm rank 7 because you're playing, 26 hours a day and have no life, but you're going to be toll gated at 3L9. That's going to allow those players that, the casual players, the players that, do have lives, to go out there and still compete. And so there's that factor from it. The leveling isn't going to be as fast as Celestius for obvious reasons, because we don't want people, 1 to 50 in 3 hours. Of course, power level groups, whenever people get up and stuff like that, you're going to be able to level faster than you would as a level 1 group going forward. So I mean, there's those learnings. The other thing, like the doppelgangers, they were, a new idea. Phoenix came out with their zones and their flags and, this and that was a new idea. So Celestius really built on the fact of what can we do in a short amount of period to get people RVRing and get people out there doing what the game is, a large portion of the game, which is RVR. The problem with that is that vision was expected. It was expected, but not expected to fail, but it wasn't expected to last, 12 months, 2 years. Because, if everybody plays, everybody's Realm Rank 11, what do they have to do? Start a new
Right.
character? It just didn't make sense. So it was really just a lot of testing the waters and seeing, what could be done with the code and like the Renegade system was put into play. So, we're taking, a portion of that and putting it into Eden where it's only on EV. And, that puts a fourth realm type dimension to it. That those players that, let's say there's an Albion raid, they're getting a relic and, a guild wants to go out and harass the Albions. Go set yourself up as a renegade, and if they pass their EV, they're free game. Or the Mordred style. You want to go out there and fight your buddy, go set yourself as a renegade and fight your buddy. So there's a lot of that thought process that's gone into Eden that we've learned from Celestius.
Now, you did mention that Renegade topic, and I know Hazefest has been nipping at the bits to ask you questions about the Renegade system, so I'm going to let him go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, basically, a lot of people probably haven't read deep into the server information on the website, and I don't really know if Renegades are mentioned there, but then again, you guys said you have a few announcements that you have yet to make. So, Renegade system, what does that entail? Is it similar to like a Mordred style system?
So the Renegade system on Celestius was they would go out and they would capture a few Minotaur relics and everything, and then they would fight other groups on Agramon, and then once you became the Renegade, you could go anywhere within RVR, and you could go attack other keeps and your own keeps and towers if you wanted to, or your own realm, the other realms. Basically, they became the fourth realm. Now, it was just a group that could do that on Celestius. What we're adapting it to on Eden is, instead of it going and capturing relics, you actually have to go basically to an NPC and say, hey, I want to be a renegade, or my group wants to be a renegade. So multiple groups can go out and be renegades, and they can fight each other, or they can, kind of gather up together. Let's say you have a guild event or whatever, and you want to be a renegade and fight on Agramon, you can go out there and do that. Or like I said, if you have a friend that, has been talking smack to you, oh, I can beat you. Oh, come on, let's do this. Go out to EV, sign up. Both of y'all are renegades. Y'all can fight each other.
Now, is this something you can turn on and off?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, as a renegade, you said you can go anywhere. Could I, say, as a Hib, walk my way into Jordheim?
No. So when I said anywhere, it was in the frontier zone.
Okay.
And on Eden, the renegades are going to be subject to EV only. And the reason for this is part of the learning that we learned was you would get, an elite 8-man group out. They would go get renegade. And then let's say you had a mid-zerg or whatever. Let's say they were a mid group. And they would go attack the mid-zerg just to get realm points and harass them. So we're keeping them on EV for that purpose, because while they are the fourth realm, and we're also talking, the central keep in EV, potentially being, the renegade keep, and you can go attack it, and the renegades can defend against it, and so forth. So you can have 3 realms attacking one keep, but you have the renegade group that's protecting it. And then if it gets taken over, of course, the other realms the other quote unquote 3 realms, including the renegade group, can attack that.
Now, if you are flagged as a renegade, can you still see your realm's chat?
No.
Good.
Can't talk in region to them. You can't. You literally.
I guess it doesn't help if you're in a Discord guild and you can still communicate via that way.
Yeah, people get around it all the time anyway.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
If they want to get around it, they'll get around it.
Yeah, they'll jump in. On a Albion FOA for example, they'll jump in there and listen to them. Oh, they're on a relic raid. All right, well, let me tell my friends they're going this way. And that's going to happen. But no, in the game, it's definitely, you can't talk to the other realm.
All right. Another question I think about seasonal Dark Age of Camelot people are worried about or curious about. In between your seasons, how is your team going to do it? Are you guys going to have a separate server where you're going to be working on the next season's information when you guys feel like maybe another season change is coming up? Are you guys going to be building your second season on a different server? And is there going to be a beta test and an alpha for every season? Is there going to be any downtime between your seasons, like a 3 or 4 week downtime before the next one spins up?
No, we have a production server and we have a dev server. All the work that we're doing right now on Eden is on the dev server. So like right now, you could still log into Celestius. There's probably not going to be anybody there. So all of the work would be done on the dev server, and we would likely have an alpha and beta test on it. And let's say we were going to switch over a season, we would give a time for period announcement ahead of time. For instance, as an example, hey, in 6 weeks, the population has been dwindling. We're announcing a new server that's going to launch in 6 weeks, and on that mark, let's say it's August 1st, season 1 goes down, season 2 spins up. No downtime for the player base.
That's good. Now, in between your seasons, are you going to change the mob layouts, the map layouts? Because if I want to come over to Eden and I want to spend hundreds of hours mapping your game, your server, is it all going to change every season?
No, we are trying our darndest to make the mobs placements and the dungeons and everything as identical as live as possible.
Okay.
And we're going through and we're getting all of the mob locations, everything as accurate as possible. That's actually what the world build team was working on today. In our meeting was going through checking the NPCs, making sure that the NPCs weren't fighting each other, for instance.
Oh, that's just so much fun.
Yeah, some of the peace flags were not turned on, but hey, it's fun to watch two elves go at each other. But yeah, so but no, the mob placements definitely would not change on season to season.
Now one thing that I know we were conversing about earlier with certain aspects with like end game RVR instances. Is there going to be a realm timer on Eden? And if so, how long and what would trigger it and what would it prevent you from doing?
All right, so we will have a realm timer. Right now we're toying with the thought of 30 minutes to an hour. We may do a little longer than that. It's not set in stone, but the trigger on that would be, take a tower, take a keep, kill a player, get realm points, go PvE all you want. But as long as you do something in RVR that hits that trigger, you're locked into that realm for that amount of period. And the reason for that is we don't want one, we don't want cross realming. Two, we don't want, the Hib BG's, 98 players, the Al BG's only 60. Well, forget Alb. I'm going to go get my realm points on Hib. We want to build that realm loyalty up. Like we announced, before, we want to build that up. We want to have people that when they play a realm, they're excited to play that realm and help that realm and be there and not just be like, forget it. You play a day, you get this. You play a day on the other realm, you lose some of that realm loyalty bonus.
Okay.
With the
one
realm
other.
loyalty,
Oh, go ahead. Good.
with the realm loyalty, in the patch notes today, it said something about like to get a full 100% realm loyalty will take like 100 days. And if you do anything in RBR, you will backtrack that. So if you have 100%, if you're trying to get 100% realm loyalty, that's 100 days is, I mean, some servers don't even last that long. Do you have any like, is that set in stone the 100 days, or is that just kind of like an example of, I mean, you could hit 100 days and lose all the population and then go, oh, here's season 2, and then you have to start the realm loyalty, or will that carry over if it happened to be 100 days and a new season would go by?
It would carry over for sure. That would be one of the things that we would carry over. Um, we hope Eden lasts longer than 100 days. Like I said, we have a lot of things, under our sleeve that we haven't announced that we're really excited to announce once it's available and we're good with it. The 100 days isn't necessarily set in stone, but it's a good starting point, because, like we said, you obtain 500 realm points in your 24-hour period, you get 1 point for the day. If you gain 500 realm points in a 24-hour period, it will decrease the other 2 realms by 4 points. So let's say you're sitting at 40 points on Alb, and you go play with a buddy and you kill one person, and you get 500 points. Well, you've just gone from 40 to 36. So it's going to make you think about where you want to play and where you want to put your loyalty. That's really
Makes
where that
sense.
comes into play is, and then of course the renegade, loyalty as well. That's completely separate. That goes along with that.
So PvE is being introduced. You guys are taking the Celestia server, you guys are adding PvE to it and really bringing that to the end game as well. There's going to be 2 different ways to level on Eden. And that's going to be the original PvE grind from 1 to 50. And then there's going to be the BG style 1 to 5 or 5 to 9, all that stuff, all the way to 49, correct?
Yep, there's actually more than 2. So you have the regular main world, call it classic zone or whatever. You're going to have dungeons, which are going to have quests and stuff in it, to do. In the dungeons, you'll get rewards and stuff like that. So then you'll have the battlegrounds, which are going to have their own pros and cons, because you'll be able to get realm points, you'll be able to get different bonuses and stuff, and then you also have the RVR zones. So really, you have 4 different choices of leveling style that someone could go about. So if someone just wants to grind it out casually, they can go to the classic zones, SI classic, mainland classic, and grind it out. You can go in as a group to a dungeon and do a dungeon crawl. If you want to be a BG, person and get a group together, or, just get a couple buddies and go through the BGs, you can level that way. You know, in RVR, there's going to be in New Frontiers, there's going to be areas that you can level out there as well. Just like if you look back on Live or you look back on Phoenix, you could have those zones. Of course, there's risk reward with all of them.
Yeah, so I was about to ask, what would be the incentive for someone to go to 1 to 50 PvE instead of the battlegrounds? Because the battlegrounds, the realm points are what you want. I mean, I know there's going to be a cap, but at the same time, I think when Phoenix did the BG leveling events, I don't know how spun up those values were, but you would level so quickly as a 5-man in the BGs that Phoenix ran. How are you guys going to balance the speed between PvE outside of the battlegrounds to the PvE inside of the battlegrounds?
So that's a great question. So, for example, the classic zones and stuff, just examples of the classic zones, you're still going to get gear and stuff. You might not get the gear, the high quality gear with the high, util rate, stuff like that from that. But your more casual players will be able to go out and do that. There'll be zones, like the TOA zone or the even, Dartmoor, whatever that, you can grind those levels out as a casual player if you want to do it that way. With the dungeons, you'll be able to go in and run some quests to get the XP that way. So each subset of that leveling is going to have its own modifier for leveling, and the goal really is about slash played 24 hours or so is kind of our goal on all 4 of them. So we don't want, let's say someone that's doing the battlegrounds to supersede someone who's, doing the dungeons or, the regular, classic zones. There's going to be, like I said, advantages to all of them. But there's going to be those disadvantages as well. Like you said,
Appreciate you
the
answering that.
battlegrounds, you have your realm points that you can get, which give you, your abilities that make your character stronger. Whereas someone who's doing the classic areas, they're not going to get those realm points, but they're going to be a more casual player. They may be just wanting to farm gold. They may be wanting to farm shards, or whatever the case may be.
I have a
Yeah.
quick question with it being TOA and the like. So is crafting going to be completely obsolete outside of alchemy?
No.
Oh, could
No.
you go a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah, crafting. You're going to need to have your gear crafted. You're going to need to have your weapons crafted. You're going to need to have your spell crafting done, your alchemy done, all of that, because the way the ROG system is set up is we want to make it to where, we have the 101 cap, but we want to make it to where you have to work for it a little bit. Not everybody's going to be able to cap out at 101. You might have to, reduce quickness by 1 or 2. You're going to have to get those ROGs with those utilities that match for your character, and that's what's going to drive the economy. Is you're going to be able to go out and get those items, and it may not necessarily work for your character, but you can either give it to a guildie or a friend, or put it up on your consignment merchant and sell it. And then to turn that around, the armor, the quality of the armor isn't going to be 99 or MP for everything. You're going to have some 84s in there. You're going to have, the lower level stuff that's going to get you through leveling to get you to where you can RVR and stuff, but it's not going to be 99 or MP.
So we have a question from chat for you, Frida. Dr. Blue Little asks, how will Frida and his team handle the people that sell gear, levels, items for real world money? And the reason he's asking is this because he's wondering how you're going to avoid any legal ramifications because of this.
If they are caught selling for real world money, they are going to get insta-banned. We do not allow that. We do not condone that. We do not want that. So if they are caught doing that, and there are ways on the system that can track that, if they are caught doing that, they will get banned. And it won't be just their character, it'll be their hardware ID, their IP address, everything.
Including Discord, correct?
Yep. Everything's going to get banned, and then we can go down, as far as, let's say RP farming. If we catch someone that's RP farming their buddy, guess what? You just earned season 2 right there for yourself, because we can go in and reset you back to level 1 and strip all your gear.
Awesome. So you can do targeted resets as well as mass resets if needed.
Correct.
I had one more question from chat about the RP realm rank gating. Is that a hard set number and time, or is that going to be a little bit more flexible based upon population and like?
So it right now it's a hard set time every week. After the first month, 309 is going to be the first month, and then after that we'll go up. I don't even know what it was, 200,000.
200,000.
Yeah, something like that. But like I said, we have things under our sleeve that we're hoping to combat that. So over time, let's say the population does dwindle off some. People are going on holiday. Whatever. We have some things that we hope to bring to the community that is still playing that's going to help offset those dips in the population.
I got one from chat from Sineth about the realm timer. Would you even be up to doing and extending it from PvP as well as PvP? So no matter if you're on Elb and you go over to your Hib and you do a little bit of PvE, could you get a locked 30 minutes or an hour or something like that? So not just RVR.
Great
Like
question.
anytime you walk into a realm.
Yeah, great question. That really hasn't been brought up. I know, our focus has been, keeping the RVR from swinging excessively when one BG is stronger than the other. But that is a good thought process. The only and having a much lower timer, like you said, 30 minutes, whatever, so people can't, hop over and join a BG or whatever and spy on it or whatnot. Like I said, that hasn't really been brought up or thought of, but that is a great suggestion.
I recommend that during your alpha, beta, all your other testing, keep an eye on how long it takes to run relic raids on average and make that your timer for PvE. Because you want to have them get the relic and run it back however long that takes an average battle group. I recommend you make that your PvE timer.
Yeah, that I concur.
Uh,
Quick follow-up question with the realm rank gating. If I, get to realm rank 3L9, but I'm going to be going on vacation, does my realm points continue to accrue? And I'm just stuck at the realm rank so that when I come back in month 2, I would be realm rank 5?
Right. So let's say month 1, your toll gate is the 3L9, but you have enough realm rank or realm points stored up to be realm rank 7, right? So let's say you take a month off or 2 months off, and the new realm toll gate is realm rank 5. You'll come in and have it's not really capping the realm points, it's capping the realm skill points that are available to spend. So every time that new toll gate opens up, you get a new realm skill point to spend. So when you do come back, you'll have those new realm skill points to spend from the realm points that you've earned.
Okay. That thank you for clarifying.
I got now. These are some small questions you could probably answer within a few seconds of each, but I'm going to hit you with probably like 5 or 6, maybe a couple seconds each. Like I said, Animus Shroom Cap on Atlas. It's
13 and 1,000 range, and then 21 for any range.
What is Eden going to do about Animus Shroom Cap? Because a lot of people are worried that Animus are just going to continuously get nerfed across every server, seeing that they, in a sense, are the most powerful PvE character to make, but just in RVR, when you nerf them in PvE and RVR, they become useless.
Right. No, I understand that. Our thought process right now is kind of like what Celestius was. Where it's I want to say it was like 15 in a 1500 radius. Somewhere around that, and that's both PvE and RVR. So that's kind of the thought process right now going into alpha. So that we'll keep that going into there, and if we get a lot of feedback of, hey, we need to expand upon that or reduce the range or whatever, we'll definitely take that under consideration.
I'm going to come back to that one, and I'm going to give you a suggestion at the end, because there is something that I was talking to Conclave about that I had 30 people in chat, and we were all talking about it, and we came to a really good conclusion on that one. It sounded like the best option for anybody to really balance the class itself. But as far as it goes past the actual classes, because there's not many other classes that I know about that really need fine tuning rather than taking a look at some of their abilities and giving certain, this is going to be TOA, so some classes that don't have their side stun here on Atlas are going to have their side stun on Eden, and some people will have to play with it and see how things go. Specs are going to change. One thing I do want to ask though is, how are y'all going to incorporate in-game rating in the TOA zones with classic style only RAs and spells and gear, et cetera, et cetera? So without the TOA, I mean, we're going to have the TOA stats, the 101 stats and resist and everything else that we can get, but the gear itself, we're not going to have the stuff that you could get from everything else, so the artifacts and everything else. So how is Eden going to even out the balance by not having those items added into the game?
So we are going to have ROG items that do have the stats on them. So whenever they're going to have, that's where the TOA zone really comes into play, is it's going to be the in-game area to get your jewelry, your weapons and stuff like that. They're going to have those cap stats. So it doesn't have to be spellcrafted and everything like that on there. So that's sort of how we're going to balance that. Of course, spellcrafting and everything else is going to come into play with that as well. The biggest thing with the toys that come with the artifacts or with the ML abilities, that's really what we're getting rid of. So the ability to have your stat caps is still going to be there, whether it's spellcrafting or ROGs, and that's where the ROGs are going to come into play specifically, is going to be there. Are we saying that everybody's going to be able to get to 101 right away? No, it may take you a month or two to get that quote unquote perfect template. And that's sort of the purpose behind it, because we don't want people going out in RVR day 2 with a perfect template and just annihilating everybody. And those people that are getting annihilated because they fell behind the curve a little bit get discouraged. So
Right.
that's where a lot of those encounters and in-game content, the TOA, the dragon, the city, things of that are going to drop those items that are needed to be able to do that.
All right. Then my last question before, because I really don't have many other questions to go off of really, is how is Eden going to handle the influx of players that are going to be, I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. How is Eden going to handle the influx of players leaving Atlas to come to Eden, as well as the players that are going to end up also leaving Eden and Atlas for Phoenix when that time comes rolling around?
Great question. So the influx of incoming isn't going to be a problem. We're running the same stable code on almost an identical server as Celestius was. So having 3,000-4,000 people on it, not going to be a problem. The influx of people that may leave to go to Phoenix and try it out, we're hoping that the game that we provide is going to have them attached to that, and they may leave for a week or two and kind of see what Phoenix is all about, and then come back. So again, some of the things that are up our sleeve that we really aren't at liberty to announce right now, because we don't want other people, one, we don't want other people going, oh, well, that's a great idea, let's do it ourselves. Two, it's not quite ready yet, but the mechanics that we're putting in game will help alleviate some of that population stress that could come from those ebbs and flows. Again, we'll have announcements on that. I've been begging for them to announce it sooner than later, but I keep getting pushback from the devs. Not yet, not yet, not yet. So, but we brought in, an old time gamer, a dark age, as GM and here recently, and we showed him what it was all about, and he had to step away from his computer for 5 minutes and just go sit on his couch and just chill, and came back and he goes, I can't, this isn't Dark Age. This is beyond anything I've ever seen. So those are the things that we have that are coming soon, as announcements, and we'll have them in game to help with those drastic changes in population.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna bounce off the population, which is also a concern of a few people in chat with the again with the realm rank toll gating. So what people are afraid of is people in month 1 getting enough realm points to be realm rank 7, 8, or even higher, and then realizing I don't have to play for a few months because my progress is going to be, I'll just wait for everyone else because I'm not going to be better than anyone. I'll just going to be top tier for this next tier. So they're afraid of the population dipping from those players not needing to play. Is there going to be a continuing incentive for those players to be playing, or to just wait for the next month?
So great question. I don't foresee, unless people have more time on their hands than I do, or a lot of people do, like 48-hour days or something, I don't foresee people getting to those high realm ranks that soon. Just based on how we're setting it up, for one. For two, again, it's going to point back to their templates. They're not going to have that elite template right away. So they're going to go out, they're going to RVR, they're going to get the realm points just like everybody else, but they may be able to get more just because they have more CPU cycles in their brain and don't ever sleep, and they're spinning away on caffeine all day. But that happens with every server. If you have someone that's playing 18 hours a day, they're going to get more. But the RP gain is going to be slower than Celestius by far, for one. And for two, it's going to allow that quote unquote subpopulation that's not gaining as fast because they're not playing as much. It's going to allow them to continue to stay up with them. So even if they do get, let's say realm rank 5 in the first month, more power to you, buddy. That means you have more time on your hands than since.
Let me ask you this, because this will probably influence this. Are you able to currently at this time tell us how the utility will work on the items? Is it capped based on the level of the monster you're killing? Is it just a random number roll between X and X? How is your ROG system? Does it matter if you kill and farm in epic dungeons, or does it matter if you just kill in-game PvE?
It does. So our ROG system is set up for utility. For instance, the level 1 to 10 dungeon or whatever is going to have a utility range between, let's say 10 and 24. And it'll spit it out that way. And then the in-game stuff, again, TOA is really where our focus is for that higher utility, the city raids, the end game content is where you're going to get those higher utility things than just going to Dartmoor and farming giants all
Do
the
y'all
time.
have an estimate of what your absolute top end ROGs are going to be? Because we haven't seen anything higher than 90 on Atlas.
Probably a little higher than that, maybe. Just because the TOA stats and everything. I know the world builders are working out that they haven't gotten to those high end areas yet because we've been focusing really hard on getting the 1 to 24 experience set up to where we can get the feedback on that. But that is something definitely our developers and our world builders are working through on getting project plans and stuff set up for. So no, I don't know of any necessarily max cap per se of utility set at this point.
Okay. Do you know if Eden is going to do something similar to what Phoenix did, where they're going to allow spell crafting's gem cutting to break down accessories into some sort of currency that then you can pump back into your rogs? Because I feel like that's a bad system, and you're going to end up with people having 150, 300 utility rogs by the end of your lifetime.
I understand that. I know there was, I don't even remember the guy's name. But on Phoenix, because we would run Darkspire all the time, and he'd just break down everything and just pump it into one. He had like 115 util drop or something out of Darkspire once, and he pumped it up to like 210 or something, and it was still just going for it. Right now, we're not going to be doing that. We don't think it fits with the feel of the game. Phoenix at one point did have where you could build the gem or whatever, and right click it and get some random item. That's been tossed around some, but still not something in stone that we're planning on doing. We really want the experience to be as close to live and the classic feel that everybody has, where your spellcrafters can get money, your alchemists can get money, your armor crafters can get money. The true community economy is built on what everybody does around you.
Um,
Two questions real quick, and then that's it for me. Old RAs, new RAs, will there be a mixture of it? And speaking on top of the rogue system, will they finally break down and you have to get a new one, or will they last forever?
Great question. So we are going with new RAs. It's going to be a lot like the way Celestius was set up. We are making some tweaks to them. The character builder does have those in there, but the RAs are not going to be the old RAs where you have to wait 30 minutes for purge or anything like that. As for the durability, again, that's still kind of out there. We want to see how it plays out, because again, we don't expect people to have templates that they can put together, day one. We're expecting them to have to go out and say, okay, well, I'm going to have to give a little bit up on strength and a little bit up on con, but this is doable. And then when they come across another ROG that fits better in the template, they're going to have to rebuild that template to fit around that new ROG. So that's kind of the thought process right now, not necessarily, the durability of it, because we're hoping that by the way the ROG system is going to work is it's going to, challenge players in a way that they're having to, mix and match pieces. And when they come across a new piece, whether through Market Explorer or an encounter or, a raid or something that they get in on, we want them to have to really, think, oh, well, okay, this will give me an extra 4 con. I want to put that in my template. They're going to have to redo their template. Again, keeping that economy cycle flowing.
That's good. How much has the community discussions that you have heard in the past week? I mean, we had the open discussion that was hosted by Polemo that you had first caught wind of, and then we have this type of show where we get together and we talk about it. How has this helped Eden and help them pivot or change their vision or fall more in line with the player base's ideals?
It's been great. The feedback from the community, the feedback from y'all and everybody, that's really what we're about, and that's what I'm about, is getting, that information from y'all of what style of play y'all want, what style of play y'all are looking for. Again, it's not going to be a, one size fits all, because everybody has their different opinions. Even within our staff, we have, solo centric, we have small man, 8-man, Zerg. We have the casual player like myself. I'm too old to be spending 18 hours a day playing anymore. So we have everybody in the group, and that's really been the greatest thing that I've run across. I've been playing since release, and it always felt like a lot of the other dev teams and the other teams, even on live and on, Phoenix, and, there was a single vision from the primary stakeholder of the server, and that's what stuck. And everybody just had to fall in line with that. Where with Eden, everybody has their input, everybody has their opinion, everybody has, something of value to bring to the team. And that's why we have weekly staff meetings, and throughout the week we're, chatting with our web guy and our visual effects guy, and, our developers and our world builders. And, we're constantly chatting amongst each other. And, we've developed a great rapport on the team of when someone gives a suggestion, it's not a stupid suggestion. Let's toss it around. Let's see if it sticks. Let's see if we can make it work, not only for a solo player, but for a group player. So there's a lot of that that goes on within the Eden staff is we're really trying to find innovative ways to incorporate everything that we're getting from the community in a way that allows everybody to feel like they've been heard. And trust me, we've heard, the different videos and that have been published, and what y'all are saying, and we really want to incorporate everything we can possible to make that gameplay good for everybody. And like throughout this, I've been taking notes and sending it to the staff team, and some of them are giving me cockeyed and going, huh? I'm like, just taking notes, we'll talk about it later. um you know so it really is, we want this to be a community server. We want this to be the server that, like I said, in 10 years everybody's still talking about, everybody still plays, they go out, they meet new friends, lifetime friends, things of that nature, that we can all say, hey, they did it the right way.
Go ahead, Karma.
I got 3 things for you, Mr. Frida. I got one question, first question. Somebody asked this in chat, but I had already planned on getting to this question because this is something that, as an old Uthgard player, this is something that really interested me about Uthgard. That, even with TOA zones coming out, this is still something that, I feel no server has done quite like Uthgard has in the day, and that was Tajendi, the custom dungeon made and created by them to service the community, custom quest lines, etc., 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 going on down the list, with everything that went around with it. There's never been anything, as far as I know, across any server. They've added Darkspire to a server, they've added this, they've added that, but there's never been any custom dungeon built and created by a team since Uthgard. Do y'all have any plans on bringing anything like that to the server?
Great question. I'm sure you've seen the video that we did for the launch of the server announcement and everything. There is a dungeon in there that we've been working on. It is a lot of custom mechanics to it. But to go on top of that, what you're asking for is like custom terrain, custom feel, something that's not in the game. Without going too far into depth with it, yes, we are working on something behind the scenes to bring new and exciting adventures and terrain and feel to the game of Dark Age. Something that's not ever been done. Like I said, that we had 2 things that when we brought in a new GM world builder in last week or the week before, we showed him, and like I said, he had to step away for 5 minutes and catch his breath and come back and go, okay, can I pay y'all to be on the team? Because this is something that literally I've never in my life seen before, or even, people have even thought of for Dark Age. So yes, definitely that is something that our team is working on. I can't say that it'll go right at the launch of Eden, because something like that does take, a lot of cycles and dev experience and stuff to get fleshed out properly. But it definitely is something in the works.
Gotcha. So continuing on with that, because the other two questions were going with that question, as if you said no, then what is going to be a site of custom content that you would be bringing to the server? But since that is a work in progress, I'm going to focus on that for a second. Since you are working on bringing in a sort of Tajindi-like experience for players, is that going to be something that's, so as you said, you won't know when it's going to come out, but say for instance, if it was released at the beginning of season 2, would y'all begin work on a new one and release a new one every other season, saying that y'all last multiple seasons? Would y'all release one every other season, or would y'all just stick with the original and continue from there?
Looking at our dev team and looking at our content team and our graphics and everything, I don't think they could just sit on one. They're so pumped, so excited about what they're building, and excited about being able to release it to the community. I don't think one's the limit. I don't think two's the limit. I don't know what the limit is, but they are just beyond excited. Our whole team is beyond excited with what they're coming up with, and the sky's the limit with what they're doing. I mean, literally, it's just the work they've done. Like I said, I've been playing Dark Age since release, and people Camelot Unchained, this, that. Forget about all that. I mean, the stuff that these guys are putting together is next level type stuff, and is going to change the feel and love for Dark Age for players. And it's just, the sky's the limit with it.
I mean, that's awesome to hear. It's good to see that there's going to be some custom content coming to the server that's going to be similar, if not better, than Tajindi, because I know a lot of us from Uthgard, that was one thing I believe that Uthgard had that made them last so long, because not only did you have the game itself to play, but you had Tajindi of all things. I mean, this wasn't like you said, it wasn't Dark Age anymore. It was a whole new game walking into that kind of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the two main things, and if any of the staffers that are on Eden listen to this or listening right now, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's just been, I can tell you, the past probably 2 months, when we've been working through these new things and new ideas and stuff, every day everybody comes in and goes, hey, I'm pumped, let's go. There's been no burnout, there's been no, oh my gosh, can the 20th get here to where we can just, no, it's, let's see what we can do next. Let's see what we can do here. What about this? And people are just throwing ideas everywhere of what we can do. And our content team and our developers are like, yeah, sure, let's see. And they just start throwing code and content at it, and then give us a short demo of it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I can see where that's going. And myself, I'm not a developer, not a content guy. I'm like, okay, can I have that now? Can I play that now, please? I mean, it's just, like I said, it's definitely game changing stuff.
Awesome. Is there any set dates for? I know that Alpha starts on August 20th for Eden. Is there a set date for when Alpha ends, or when you guys plan to transition to Beta, or is it just going to be see what happens?
We're hoping that Alpha, works out real well. Again, our team's been working real hard with that. The 20th is the release date for that, and we encourage everybody come out, try it out, see what we've got planned for the lower levels and stuff. There's not been anything set in stone. It's not, we've got it down on pencil right now, but it's not in pen. but we have some tentative timelines of when we want to do alpha, and then we want to do beta, and then we want to do alpha.
Good, because you don't want to have any set dates and then shortchange yourself.
No,
That'll
our
get you back.
yeah, our full launch date, our goal is October. So that kind of gives you a time frame of
That's
when
pretty
things,
ambitious.
well, we're pretty far along. I mean, we're a lot further along than people may think. But October is really sort of our where we want to kind of meet. We want to meet that goal of getting that the full server going.
Awesome.
Very, very awesome. Does anyone else have anything to add, or could we let Frida get some sleep?
I mean, I think I'm good for now. I'll probably have more questions later. I'll be looking at Eden's Discord and see what people are talking about after this, and I'm pretty sure there's always going to be more to add to the pile.
Oh yeah, I know. I definitely have to start diving into the Eden's Discord and announcements and the like. Quite intrigued with it. TOA is not personally my thing. I personally can't stand TOA, but maybe I just didn't play the proper version of TOA, so I might have to give Eden a shot, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Karma, do you have anything for him?
No, Frida, I do want to ask, do you have just 2 minutes for me to explain the suggestion with Animus, and then I'm done with, I got nothing left for you?
Sure, yeah.
The idea that we talked about for Animus, because there is no true way to balance them without nerfing them, is to do exactly that. Nerf them while making them powerful. Remove the shroom cap, or at least make it a reasonable number, 50, 60 in an area. And make it to where every shroom in the area decreases the shroom's damage of every shroom in that area by a certain percentage up to a cap. So if each shroom starts off doing 1,000 damage, then every single shroom from there reduce the damage by 10%. So now instead of doing 1,000 damage with one shroom, you're doing 900 for 2 shrooms, or you're doing 800 for 3 shrooms, and so on and so forth. Because the more and more Animus you have out there casting shrooms, the more and more damage less that these shrooms are going to do, but the more useful that they're going to finally be for people. So say, for instance, this doesn't have to be for forest cores and our FNF shrooms themselves. This can be for tanglers and main pets, and our debuff pet as well for our creeping and verdant animus. This could be any shroom that gets placed down on the ground adds the debuff to every shroom within that area, dropping it so that every shroom in there is being nerfed at the same time they're becoming powerful.
Interesting take on that. I like it. When I started playing and Animus came out, I really thought to myself that they were more of a interrupting class. They would focus on something and or multiples or whatever, and they would interrupt, and then it was like, holy cow, you get 10 shrooms out and you one cast cycle and they're dead. It's like, wow, what was that? Again, that's why I had 7 level 50s on Phoenix, because I just love playing the Animus in PvE. They were just so fun to level. But that is an interesting take, and I'm definitely going to take that and run to the dev team and be like, hey guys, this came up. Is this something that we could do? I mean, it makes sense. The more you have, the less it should do, but it still gives the Animus definitely something to do in RVR. And if played right, they can become that interrupting class instead of that, look at me, I've got 20 shrooms out, and you step outside the door, you're insta-killed.
Right, because right now we step outside, we put, like you said, 13 shrooms in a 1,000 radius. Each one of those shrooms hits for 200 damage each. And that's 13 times 250. I'm not going to try and pull a calculator or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you that that's a shitload of damage. most people aren't going to survive a full-blown volley of all that damage at the same time, especially on a single target. But even then, that's at a 13 cap from one animus. If you were to make it to where 13 shrooms were to have a percentage-based debuff on damage alone, not only do people now have to start thinking about, okay, how many shrooms do I want to put down to do my min-maxing on damage, but they now also have to decide, do they need to add tinglers in there? Do they need to keep it just F and F damage shrooms? Do they need to make it to where they have their main pet out? Because you add the main pet into this entire thing. So the main pet is what starts the debuff percentage. That is your 0% debuff. That is where it starts. And then every shroom after that is where the percentage starts to go down. First shroom, 90%. You know, everything from there on and so forth. And for every animus in the area that's casting shrooms, that percentage can go down with them. Now, you can split this up between a personal player percentage and a group-wide percentage, as well as in a player's personal shrooms will do so much damage minus the debuff from their shrooms, as well as the group-wide from every one of the animus in the area's shrooms debuff as well, making it to where, say, if they did 250 originally, your debuff plus their debuff, now each one of your shrooms, say, are hitting for 33, but the cap is 50 in the area. So 33 times 50, still a very high amount of damage, but definitely makes it to where Animus can be more useful in RVR, because now people aren't just saying, here's 13 shrooms, all right, AFK for 30 minutes.
No, I like it. And, you know, like I said, I had 7 level 50 Animus and a lot of lobies. You know, it was frustrating going to an area or whatever, and it's like, you can't put a stream down. It's like, well, I feel useless. You know, go play my other character. So yeah, I love the idea. You know, some of the guys are listening to the stream, and you know, they're saying it's actually not a dumb idea. So yeah, that gives us some fat to chew on for sure. Great feedback, great idea. And we'll see. I mean, that definitely, it brings that class back into the fold, especially open field RVR, because your tanglers are so important, you know, this, that, and the other. But it also gives a sense of purpose to them in keep fights and you know, that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean,
Right, and I mean, not only speaking on that, but I'm sorry, I know I'm taking up time, but not only speaking on that, but in a PvE sense, you know, I don't know how it was on other servers. I only know how it was on Uthgard. Everything that was attacking the mob. So, say for instance, we're on Dragon right now. There's 100 of us out there. Every single thing that's attacking that dragon is adding a hit percent chance to it, making it more likely to be hit by everything in the area around it. So limiting, you know, us to 13 to shrooms, you know, that really does hinder PvE on Hibernia, even though it doesn't seem like it. It does kind of hinder us because we could be killing much faster. Much faster.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that is definitely an outside the box thinking, and like I said, you know, a couple of the guys have already said, you know, good idea.
Coding
yeah,
nightmare, but it's a good idea.
yeah, I mean, your frame rate's going to go down to nothing, but hey, who cares? You know, we're wanting to be nostalgic, right? Go back to the old days of running on a toaster.
Yeah, it runs on a toaster. It's fine.
Yeah, just play it on your new phones. I mean, we're good.
Yeah.
Phones, don't you?
But no, definitely great idea. This like I said, I've got it in my OneNote as something, and I put it in the feedback for the team and everything. Definitely something that we can, and like I said, with our developers, we, you know, the sky's the limit with them. But yeah, that's,
yeah. You should definitely put the Bone Dancer, Twiff, and Negative Maelstrom up for like a public discussion on your Discord and see what people think about that.
yeah. We're gonna have some polls and stuff and
Somebody
stuff
out
on
there's
the
gonna have a
forums.
better idea than me. So, saying.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with that, especially when they get to the higher realm ranks and stuff under their belt. But yeah, great feedback. I mean, this has
Well,
been very helpful for the team and
well, I mean, I think it
for the
goes both
community.
ways. Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think the people really appreciate you coming on, spending your time here, and kind of just discussing what your ideas were. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to the alpha. Hopefully, you guys will get a better turnout because Atlas's alpha didn't reach more than 450 players, which led to a lot of their issues once they launched. So hopefully, you guys can get a good sample size and run with it.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, I know a lot of people in the Atlas community, when you mention Eden, they don't really know what it is. So I figured, let me get our community together and address what Eden is with the GM of Eden, and
Yeah.
for everyone to come to their own conclusions if that's something that they want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just here
Like
to
I
bring the
said,
information.
yeah, like I said at the beginning, I have all the kudos to the Atlas team. They've taken basically nothing and turned it into something that people are starting to enjoy and stuff. And we want to do the same. We didn't take from, well, I didn't take because I'm not a developer, but like I said, a lot of these guys have been developing on DOL for 10 plus years. So they did have to start from scratch. So they've gone through those panic moments of, why does it keep crashing? Why does it keep doing this? So, kudos to them for the work that they've done and to be able to get through it. And it's not that we're necessarily wanting to, we don't like them, we want to kill their server, none of that. It's just we started developing Eden before Celestius started dying off, so it was more of a, hey, we want to bring something new to the table, and nothing was coming about very quickly. And then Atlas launched and everything. I'll be honest with you, I've not played Atlas. I played some on Celestius, played a lot on Phoenix, and then the Freeshards and live before that. So, I don't know the struggles that they've had over the time, but I've heard about it. I've felt the frustration from the community, and I'm glad it's going better for them over there. But we just want to bring something to the community that not only brings back Dark Age, before, like you were saying, before TOA gave you the bad taste in the mouth and stuff like that. Yes, we're gonna have the TOA zones. I'm not a big fan of TOA. That was one of the main reasons why I quit playing live back in the day, was because I didn't have the time to go on a 10-hour ML raid. Just didn't. Couldn't farm, couldn't sit there and wait for a scroll to drop so I could open an artifact and all of that stuff. So it did give me a bad taste for TOA. But the zones themselves are quite dynamic, and some of the stuff that they can bring to the table is unique. So we felt that it was a good fit for the server to kind of give the community everything that we could, and we want to continue doing that with a lot of the stuff that the developers and content builders and stuff are working on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Personally, the 10-hour TOA raids, I would just stick to one of my buddies while I was at work, and I told him, don't run me into a wall. And I'd get credit, so I didn't really have to do those raids, but I still got credit for them.
Yeah, and the thing with TOA is it's totally optional. It's going to be a zone for in-game content, for people that want to go out there and farm and get stuff done. But it's not absolutely necessary. So if you don't like the TOA zones and what they have to offer, our main goal is still going to be the epic dungeons, the SI dungeons, and dragons and that stuff. But TOA is going to give that alternate route for, that casual player that maybe they're running on a toaster still. Who knows? They just can't go on those 150, 200 player city raids or gala raids or whatever. But yet they still want that good end content so they can go out and, you know, farm in TOA, or you want to put a group together and go do an encounter, those type of things. So TOA is not a you have to go here to get your stuff. It's a, you know, it's another option, and that's what we want to try to do, is we want to provide a lot of options and let the player choose their path.
That sounds pretty good, but I definitely am very interested in what Eden's going to be posting with their upcoming events as we get closer and closer to Alpha, which we're less than 20 days away now, since technically today is beginning of August.
For the European players, yes. But yeah, 20 days away. We're definitely looking forward to the community coming to us and seeing what we have. Like I said, we've been putting in a lot of work, a lot of hard blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of tears, into getting this up and going, and I can't say enough about my team and everything that they're doing, and to get those areas prepped for that alpha launch, that 1 to 24. And you know, I would love to get back with y'all, you know, after alpha launch, and you know, give it a couple days and start getting some more feedback and see how y'all feel about it.
That sounds pretty good to me. I mean, we could be about 20 to 30 days away from episode 2 of State of the Shard. What do you think, Ace?
I mean, whenever you want to do it, just let me know.
Yeah, I think this might end up being a monthly ordeal, as long as we can keep Karma awake with those cats he's got. But Frida, we're gonna let you go. You have a wonderful night, and thanks again for coming in and spending time with us, and you know, giving us from the horse's mouth of what's going on with Eden.
Hey, not a problem. My pleasure's mine. I've really enjoyed sitting in with y'all, hearing y'all's ideas, you know, thinking outside the box, and all of that. You know, it's we can't do what we do as a staff without y'all and without the community. And that's the big thing, is the community is number one key in our mind, is making sure that y'all are heard, and we're able to provide that to y'all. Because we could put a server out there, if no one plays it, what good is it? So
I
you know,
know a server like that.
the pleasure has definitely been mine, and like I said, I definitely look forward to you know, episode 2 of this, and getting in and getting some feedback and see where we can go with this. I mean, like I said, the sky's the limit with what we've got going on, and you know, with what the community has to offer.
Awesome. Hopefully one day, once Eden and Atlas have established their visions on their servers, maybe we can get you all together for a big powwow for an Uber server.
Yeah, we would, you know, we would love it. You know, I would, you know, it was brought up in the Twitch stream, you know, why can't the dev community work together on this? You know, the developers are kind of a little weird. I don't know if y'all have ever known that. They're kind of a little weird creature. And a lot of their ego comes out, and they're like, oh, well, we want to do it this way, we want to do it that way. And I really feel that the approach that we've taken with Eden and our staff, and making sure that everybody's heard, not just the developers, not just the content builders, not just you know, any of that. You know, our team really wants this for the community. And you know, even when they launched, you know, some of our devs reached out to them, you know, when they were having issues with their troubles, and gave them some pointers and helped them out. You know, like I said, it's not an us versus them. You know, it's a dev community wanting to publish something for the community that the community can love and live with going forward. So, you know, yeah, one day we would, um, you know, we would love to everybody work together. You know, that's been the theme for, you know, all governments, everything. We just want to work together, and that's really our philosophy with the Eden staff, is, you know, we want everybody to have a focus on the community and the game that we loved for the past 20 years. You know, there's nothing else like it out there. And so that's really where we come from.
I got one more question. Since your team is established and been in the community for a while and been working on Dark Age Camelot behind the scenes, does anyone on your team have any insight on Broadsword actually working on a classic server? Because ever since the announcement months ago, there's been radio silence. There's been no proof that that's ever actually been started.
It was announced January or February, and not a word has happened since.
There's no direct intel from the team.
Okay.
But we all know historically how Broadsword is.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
You know, it's kind of like Camelot Unchained. I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
who
it doesn't
all
exist until we see something concrete.
Yeah, you know, and until they actually come up with something, you know, I where I work, we actually had a client bring up to us that one of their competitors said that they had 20 million subscribers. Okay, that's great. Do they actually? We don't know. You know, they could say whatever they want to say. You know, do they have 20 million subscribers? Probably not, because they're not that really big of a company. You know, so they can, you know, say what they want, but you know, it's kind of like the state of Missouri. It's the show me state with Broadsword. You got to show me before I can believe anything.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well. If we haven't seen anything, it doesn't exist.
And how many times has Broadsword bit us in the butt with stuff? I mean,
I haven't really been paying attention for the last 20 years.
How many times did I pay your monthly subscription?
Right?
Yeah. Right,
so
well,
I mean, take it. You know, people that want to believe in it can believe in it. People that want to believe in the Tooth Fairy and unicorns, hey, more power to you. I'll support you if you want to believe in it.
Unicorns are real. I've killed one in Dark Age Camelot.
Oh, there you go.
And it's the national animal of Ireland.
But yeah, it's one of those, you know, take it with a grain of salt with those guys. I mean, I don't know. I mean, none of our guys have any insight knowledge. We have no association with Broadsword, you know, any of that. Honestly, I would put our dev team up against Broadsword's team any day. You know, it's our dev community, not even just our team, our dev community up against Broadsword's team. And if we had the funding, we could take them over and do so much better with it. I mean,
they admitted on stream that their team doesn't even understand their own code, so I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, which is kind of sad. You know, you hire these guys to do a job, and they're sitting there at their screens going, "What is this?" Well, that's the start key. That's where you start coding. Oh, I didn't know that. You know, it's comical. I mean, but you know, that's Broadsword.
I'm pretty sure they're going to hear this and then be face palming.
Well, there goes my Twitch channel.
Well, we appreciate it, Frida. You're awesome. Thank you for coming on. And Maykrel, do we have information about Thursday? Did you get a feedback or an answer on that?
I haven't heard anything. I think Dstap has something about it.
Okay. We'll check with him then. We appreciate it.
Yeah, he'll be in the Discord.
All right. Well, it's good talking to y'all, and y'all have a great rest of y'all's evening.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, I think this was productive.
Oh, yeah. This was fun. This was fun. So
I appreciate for you having me, Maykrel.
Oh, no problem. So, Karma, you want to grab your hibs and I'll go to bed so you can run around e-main board?
Actually, I was thinking about logging mid, taking the relics, and then logging back on Hib and taking the relics back again, just so I have something to do.
Oh, the sass. Love it.
Signs that game when I was 17 years old.
Yeah, we're going to have to get an Albion player in here for even more sass.
Yes.
You know, real fast before we end this, though, let's talk about one thing real fast for the community to kind of hear. You know, we've heard about our opinions of the servers. We've heard about, you know, the changes we'd like to see, the questions we've asked, but something still remains left, and that would be whether or not the ones here on this stream are going to be moving servers or if we're going to remain here on Atlas.
I haven't had any plans to go over. I do want to get some content of a realm rank 6 friar just soloing 30 plus mobs, because I was able to do that on Phoenix, and Eden is going to run the same rule set. So, I mean, it's just good content for more servers to be out so that you can do videos on each. And it would take me a shitload of time. It would take me months to map out all of Eden. I was able to do it in Atlas Alpha because it was a dead server. I could run around the frontiers unharassed, so that wouldn't be a thing on Eden, I don't think, unless I had God mode or a PTR.
Do you think Eden would give people like, say for instance, people like you? I would say people like us, but I'm not a community person. I'm a raider. Do you think
No.
Eden would give people like you early access to do that certain thing?
No, I don't think so. It would take a lot more time than I would have. I mean, I got a full-time job and like 22 animals and a kid, so
Have you been watching?
I only have
Yeah.
I have a
What's RBR?
you know, I have a limited amount of time to dedicate to the game.
Exactly. And personally, I can't stand TOA. I hate everything about it. So
I didn't really play much of TOA. I just know that it was a pain in the ass for everybody, and everybody considers the golden age of Dark Age of Camelot not TOA.
Yeah, so I'm staying on Atlas unless I'm one of a handful of a percent for a population. Outside of that, I'm staying here.
I know a lot of people are going to be playing on Atlas or on Eden, and I might go over there to check it out, see what it's like, see what the differences are, but I don't know if I'll stay there. I plan to make Atlas my home.
Now, I can say without a doubt, I've talked to the Conclave members. We've been here for the entirety of Atlas so far, and I can say without a doubt, I think most of us are dead set on supporting Atlas, even when the server starts getting, brought down to its final legs when there's nobody left. I can say for almost a fact, we'll turn the land screen, own all 6 relics, and start, beating each other up in duels before we make the decision to leave Atlas to go to Eden. But I will say this though, a lot of us have had the thought of going for the first day or two to reserve our names and get a couple of levels on the first couple of days, and then coming back to Atlas just for those certain things. Because there a lot of people know us. A lot of people know us now. There are people out there who would love to have the name Karma. I mean, that's just the name that a lot of people would love to have. There's a lot of I don't know.
No one wants mine. It's fine.
So
you get people messaging all the time. It's a real hassle.
yeah. So that's something that we're kind of looking at. A lot of us are thinking about doing is going to there, playing for a day or two, reserving our names, and then getting our new guild created. The only thing we haven't exactly decided on yet is which realm we're going to fight for going across to Eden, if we do ever go across to Eden.
You can come to Team Blue.
If they don't implement the earlier suggestion that I made for Animus, if they don't implement anything similar, then I think my best bet would probably be going to Albion myself, because personally I've never played Albion to 50, never have. I've always wanted to take a damn Theragus, target a door, and hold down a button as a giant earth line of pets just run towards it.
But as an Alb, you can sneeze and you'll hit 50. Just get with a Cabalist and a Minstrel, you'll get to 50 in a blink of an eye. As long as your Minstrel doesn't delete itself.
Just everybody play Bone Dancers and just AoE bomb everything, and you're fine.
There are a couple of more reasons to why I would go to Al before going to mid and stuff of that nature. Mid has it a lot better right this second. Right now, they've got somewhat leadership. They've got players, not much leadership, but they've got players. Albion right now, even with Polemo, he can't rally Albion enough to even remotely stand a chance in this environment right now. He's walking into a situation where he stands absolutely no chance of standing his own ground with the way things are right now. So, having somebody like me who comes over with true strategy, true tactics, and, true battles, we come over and we start it from the beginning. People were saying in chat, Holimo and Pills have no intention of going to a season server. Whatever. I don't care. That's their thing. If they don't want to play DAoC anymore, fine, go somewhere else. But Albion has no leaders after that. If Polemo doesn't come to Eden, Albion has no leader. Who's going to step up? I personally don't want to go to Albion. I'd like to see, the Hibernian Animus get fixed. I'd like to see that suggestion get implemented, something similar. But, Hibernia has plenty of people that can step up and take my place. Midgard has plenty of people that can step up and do the same thing. Albion, I haven't heard of a single damn Albion leader this entire time I've been playing Freeshards.
I think Ponos and Polemo are the main two. There was a couple of other ones like Fames and Leroy. They would usually pull enough people to actually do something. This is a late game Phoenix, though.
I know in my experiences, a lot of the BGs, they were always so dysfunctional, unorganized, and they were so paranoid that there were spies in their BG. So if they said that they were going left, they're going right. And then everyone that wasn't in comms, that it was only reading text, would be going left and get ran because they would just split the BG. It was so bad on so many of the free shards with the Alb. That's like when I was here, I'm like, oh, I can roll my Reaver. Wait, that's on Alb. No, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there was internal talks amongst Conclave of, if we go to another realm, like which, between the officers and a few members, like if we did go to another realm, what realm would we go to? And it was kind of divided. Some people said mid, some people said Alb, some people say they wanted to stay on Hib, but I think the ultimate decision lies, honestly, truly with me, because a lot of people say they'll just follow me wherever I go. So I think it's a lot of pressure in the end because if Animus aren't fixed on Hibernia coming to Eden, if they're not at least done right, then I don't see myself going to Midgard because the only thing I'd play there is a Bone Dancer. But Albion, I at least have two characters that I would actually play, and that's a Theurgist, and I'm a Bard main, so obviously I'm gonna make a Minstrel.
Overpowered Minstrel.
I'll be dangerous.
We definitely need to get in touch with one of the devs from Atlas, because right now I think the issue right now in Atlas is they were focused on getting the stability resolved. Now that the stability is resolved, what's next? Are they hard focusing on any one particular thing? Are they just working their tickets? Are they just focusing on quality of life? Are they focusing on fixing classes? Like, I don't know what their direction is now, right? We don't really have a roadmap for this part of the game for Atlas.
That's exactly why I was hoping to get one of the Atlas devs on.
These are kind of the questions that I think a lot of people are curious about, because I know people are getting frustrated because some of the crashes are coming back, but I think that's because they're addressing some of the issues. So I think we need to figure out from Atlas what their next focus points is, so the community and the devs can work together to focus on that. So because once quality of life and balance is in, they can focus on quests, they can focus on new content, they can focus on improving systems that already exist and stuff like that. So I think Atlas has kind of gone radio silent. I mean, it took them like a week to put out patch notes. So I'm curious for myself where they're at, and I want to help them.
Yeah, I'm here to help anyone in any way I can. But like you said, I would like to see some sort of roadmap in terms of where they're going next. Now that stability has gotten under control, is it going to be quality of life features? Is it going to be increased with balance towards RVR incentives? I know they just released the monthly quest, but what's else is there? Because that stuff
Yeah.
doesn't seem
I
like
think
it's
they need
enough.
to focus on like in game right now. They need to kind of focus and tidy up in game a little bit and give something people to do in RVR.
That's
don't have
not in
towers.
That's not in E-main.
Yeah, we don't have towers. You know,
Now, I will say this though, you know, and then this is going to be depressing to some because this is a really shitty thing that I was told during the beginning. Now, I don't know if the outlook has changed by Clate since this point, but in the beginning times of, you know, the soft launch for Atlas, I was talking to Clate about something I can't remember. And, you know, this is when I was trying to get on the staff team as a world builder here just so I could help them out with fixing some in-game issues. You know, they could do anything they want in game, from path or from horse paths to item fixing to friggin' anything you want to do in game. They can do it, and they can do it in game. And I've trained GMs across multiple servers before. I can help do things that most people wouldn't really know how to do. So I was going to offer to help them in the beginning originally, and Clate said that after I asked him if he was going to push forward that or not, he said that Eden is just going to kill Atlas anyways. And, you know, I'm hoping his outlook on that has changed since then. But that was something that, you know, I've kind of kept in the back of my mind ever since he said it. Like, you know, are we doing all this? Are we playing on this server just wasting our time? Or are we playing and they're finally realizing that the true players are sticking around and they're actually trying to fix it?
yeah, I don't think Atlas is gonna die to Eden. I think people are gonna originally go check out Eden, right? They're gonna go see what's going on over there. But a lot of people don't like TOA anything. A lot of people don't like New Frontiers. There's actually a small group of people that actually like old Frontiers and old RAs. Yeah, I've never heard the devs talk like that, so that's a little strange. Maybe it was just poor context or something. Maybe he misspoke or mistyped. Hopefully,
I'll send you a screenshot and you can be the judge of that one.
sounds good. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think Atlas is going to be able to keep going. Hopefully, they'll do what they said, which was once Atlas gets to a stable point and they are happy with it, they can publish the code onto the Dawn of Light forums and go from there. Because a lot of people that don't make free shards is because they have to start over from scratch. And Eden said that that wouldn't have to be an issue anymore because they plan to publish their code.
Atlas.
And they also said that they plan to never shut the shard down, so it'd be like an Uthgard, an indefinite server with better quality of life than Uthgard.
I like permanence. That's the other thing, is I don't like seasonal games, that especially for MMOs.
I just don't think people would be happy with leveling every year.
Well, not only just leveling, but if you get ahead on realm points, you have no reason to play next week until they lift the limit up. So it's like, well, and then right before the next rung of the ladder, population's going to dip. So they have to raise the limits. Population dips, raise the limits. I just feel it's going to be a populous roller coaster up and down, to where they're not even going to get the right data to show when to announce the end of a season, because it's going to be up and down.
2023 is going to be the year of seasonal Dark Age of Camelot, whether people like it or not. Now, it's all highly experimental. I mean, Eden's doing their own thing, right? They're doing seasons, they're doing realm rank caps. Phoenix, I feel, is just shard see, shard do. I don't think Phoenix really has a vision in place. Because when I look at Feedin, oh my god, they're all the same. They're all merging. When I look at Phoenix's information, I don't see anything that's like, I stand out. This is what's unique to us. All Phoenix had to do was just turn the server back on, and they would have gotten 3,000 players. That's the part that's sad.
Turn their servers back on and roll.
All they had to do was fix the styles and turn the server back on, and it would have been fine. But they didn't do that. They decided, you know what? Eden's going seasons. That's a great idea. We're going to go seasons too. They're putting realm rate caps. We're doing that too. It's
But
like, what?
we're not going to allow stealthers in it.
That's right. We're not going to have stealthers. But the problem I have with Phoenix isn't that they're copying Eden and they don't have any clear vision. The problem I have with Phoenix is that they're developing a game on the side, which is a like direct ripoff 1-for-1 of Dark Age of Camelot, which is cool because they want to do like an upgraded engine and all this other fun stuff. But the problem is, I feel like Phoenix as a server is going to take a back seat because it's the alpha to the alpha of their game.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm doing it my own game too. It's going to be about these two electricians. I think one of them I'm going to name him Mike, and the other one I'm going to name him Larry. And they're going to go through with stars to give them electrical powers, and some flowers and some mushrooms. What do you guys think about that type of game?
I'm going to rip that game off 1-for-1 and call it my own.
I just can't fathom it. It's like, and then in their own Discord talking about the game, they're not even backpedaling the fact that they are beta testing for their game. So
they don't hide it. It's on their site.
So the minute that they get the information and the data they need, puff, bye-bye server. Phoenix dies again. So they're not even looking for longevity. They're just looking to get data for their game. So even if the community wanted to do seasons, which would be okay or whatnot, there's no longevity of that server because once they get their data, it's over.
I'm not sure seasons really work for a game like Dark Age of Camelot because it was never built or coded for that type of environment.
MMOs aren't built for seasons. Now, action RPGs like Diablo's, Path of Exiles, sure, it's loot. It's a hack slash, get a bunch of loot, get the max level, rinse and repeat. There's no like competitive PvP in those type of games. There's a vertical grind, but there's no lateral grind.
Well, Karma, I appreciate you coming on and sacrificing your evening with your raiders.
Yes, and congrats again for having all 6 relics and
that's outstanding.
Legion.
Hibernia rules.
Pretty awesome.
Tree huggers. Hey, I have 2 level 50 Hibernians.
Traitor.
Definitely let me know when the next shard meeting is going to be. I'll definitely be on. If we need to have different people in here to speak their point of view, I'm all for it.
Oh, most definitely. Obviously if something big happens in the community or something, we'll definitely have to get going and rolling one, but I can't see this being a weekly thing because things just doesn't happen that quick. And to try and milk content out of nothing, no. We definitely need some like big news in the DAoC Dark Age community.
DAoC?
Yeah, that word. It's getting late. But I want to thank everyone that came in the chat. I'd like to thank Frida especially coming in, even the chats that I've had with Clate, Freeman, Fen. And Karma's constantly in my ear about what he's doing. It's like, hey, can you guys stop this? I don't know. I'm not even online.
Man, I felt bad for you the other day, or at least I did at first. I thought that was your group that ran across us 117 Hibernians on Not War, and that group ran around the corner and didn't see a damn one of us. Got stunned in place and killed. Did not even get a chance to move. It was so bad.
No, I think
felt bad.
The day I ran out to you with my healer, I think I was like level 38 at the time. That was the day where we had the Albs versus Midgard, and there was like 72 in our BG, and we were getting chat spams that 117 Albs were killing the guards. I'm like, this is not going to end well. Oh, Sparta! And I just ran out the gate. I had to go for dinner anyway, so I just charged out the gate. I made it to the where the gate should be before I fell over, so that felt like a success.
Yeah, it's been some crazy times on RVR. You know, it's not normal for me to be the one doing this. You know, I've always been the backseater. You know, sit in a guild and go and farm my animist and just kind of be a normal watching anime person. But you know, nowadays I'm raid leading, and I have no idea how the hell that came around.
There was a job opening, and you took it, or well, it was
Yeah.
kind of put on your lap, and you ran with it. Pretty well, mind you. Pretty damn well.
Thank you.
Yep, you've been doing awesome. That's why I joined your guild, because I was like, I want to be in the center of attention. You seem to be always in the BGs, so I'm joining your guild.
You're
Yeah,
nominated. Congratulations.
I'm always doing something.
Yep. Please do. Either.
If you guys see a bunch of people always doing stuff, make sure you join their guild. That way you can piggyback off whatever they're doing.
Yep. Or if you have the time, I don't have the time. Run your own. I being a full-time truck driver, partial-time streamer, and a full-time dad and husband, nope. Not for me. I will join someone's guild and let them pull the reins. But
I'm right there with you, man.
You guys have fun. Thanks again for coming in. This was a blast. Went a whole lot more smooth than I thought it was going to. I was expecting audio levels all over the place, and I was expecting nightmares. But no, it went pretty well. And again, thanks chat for coming in. You guys rock.
All right, I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.